Hey, family. Hey, 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 hey. What's going on, family? Hey, everybody out there. Amani, Lady Moon. I see all y'all. Let me see. Where is my little thing? Oh, yeah. I see all y'all. Original Intellect, Wingo, Copper Aborigines, Queen Mai, Kahi. Oh, Copper Aborigines. David. Hey, Bridget. Hey, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. The real N word alive. I listen, we was snowed in for a minute. But when I start getting that headache in the morning, it's because I need my coffee. And I went out in that blizzard. It's really bad out there. They didn't finish the main roads. But our state is closed. Hey, Queen Mai. Our state is closed. We found out last night that all the state would be closed to the public. But I thought I would still have to work remote. So, but I guess my director got on line last night and sent me an email stating that even if we work remotely. So I said, oh, okay. So this is a chance to go live a little early. I don't have to go live later. I can watch my Chinese dramas on Netflix because that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the day when I get off my live. I'm going to watch, y'all know I love Chinese romantic karate movies. And that's what I'm going to watch. I'm going to go finish watching The Longest Promise. And yes, I watched them over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm already purchased them. Yes, because they're classics. I love Asian movies. I love Asian culture, period. That's just me. You know, maybe in a former life, I was a Chinese lady. I guess maybe I was. My grandkids look Chinese. Like I told you, my grandkids literally look Chinese. They look like two Chinese twins. And the Chinese man really thought my kids were Chinese, my grandkids. Anyway, today's segment is going to be very interesting. Um, and and it is what it is. Today's topic: life raised by baby boomers, truth, identity, and accountability. Real for real. And this is, sometimes people can't take my content because it hits them, you know, and I'm like, look, don't get mad. Nobody likes to hear the truth. The truth hurts, and people get mad. Amani, people get mad. But you know what? My grandmother and made oh, how can I even forget to send a shout out to my late nanny? And these are my real grandparents, by the way. That is my mother's mother right there. And yes, I look just like her. Absolutely. I have her legs, her whole figure. That is me. As a matter of fact, Willie thought that was me. He was like, that lady looked just like you. That is my bow-legged granny. And these are her grandparents. This is what I say about genealogy. People know their grandparents. And for these little Pan-Africans and Pan-Doodles and young Gen Z and millennial Pan-Africans, y'all need to step back for real. Because y'all was born in the 80s, in the 90s. Okay? I was born in the very late 60s. All right. I was 2 years old when Martin Luther King got assassinated. So I'm telling y'all to step back. Okay. So I can publicly take accountability in my era. Y'all back the hell up. For real. So y'all millennials, sit back and listen. For real. You can't tell me the life I lived because you were not born. You can't tell me about my childhood because you were not born. All right. So sit back and listen. My grandmother in the green dress was born in 1931. These are her grandparents. These are her mother's parents. All right. They were born in the 1850s. So again, millennials and forward, shut up and let me tell my story before you were born. All right. All I'm asking y'all to do is just be quiet for a minute. All right. So I can take accountability because a lot of our people in my era don't like to take accountability, especially boomers who are my parents, all right, era. And they don't like to take baby boomers. They don't like to take accountability. And I'm talking about my community on the mainland. I'm not talking about Central South America and the surrounding islands because that's not where my family's from. We all originated on the mainland. All right. My granny was born here in Connecticut. She's the first one to be born from the forced removal of South Carolina. My grandmother's side of the family was born in South Carolina, way away from the colonial section, which is Charleston. My family comes from up out of York, South Carolina, and moved down to Abbeville. All right. That is straight up Cherokee and Creek territory. Abbeville, look it up. I know who my ancestors are. All right. And who occupied those land. My grandmother being great. That's my third generation grandmother being born in the 1850s. All right. So shut up and let me tell my story and then include our era. I'm Generation X. I'm the generation after my mother. All right. My mother's a baby boomer. My grandmother is the silent generation because she was born in 1931. All right. So, first, all thing first, I have to give a happy birthday to my grandmother in the green dress because today is this matriarch's birthday. And I'm so glad to be doing a live on her birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Granny. And that's my granny. So I first want to say and happy birthday to my niece. Shout out because hers was the 23rd. So them Aquarius. Um I want to first, before I get into this segment and this afternoon's live, it is about truth, identity, and accountability. Being raised by a baby boomer and what we went through. Okay. So this live stream is going to break down certain religious ideologies, trauma-based teachings, and anger-driven doctrines that reshaped our communities, and how reclaiming our indigenous identity brings clarity, grounding, and healing. So we're talking about how reclassification erased our nations and renamed our ancestors, how trauma-based religions filled the void left by identity loss, how anger-driven doctrines misled generations of our men and women, how accountability, not blame, restores our family, how reclaiming indigenous identity dissolves the need for hostility, and how we return to who we were before trauma taught us to be angry. Okay? This is not about attacking anyone. This is about truth telling. It's about responsibility and restoration. So, if you're ready for clarity, ready for healing, and ready to reclaim what was taken, you're in the right place. So hit the like button and turn on notifications so you never miss a live teaching. All right. So let's get it, y'all. Let me just I really want to get in it. And a lot of the people what I love about my live stream is I have different generations in here and from different parts of the states. And I am a Generation X child. I'm a product of Generation X. And I want to get into these teachings because it's important. And it's probably going to bother some of y'all. But I say, if it bothers you, now is the time to understand what was done to us psychologically and how it affects our community. Most people believe that religion and being raised in a religious family straightens out situations, but it also at the same time does harm when there's multiple religions running around in your community. So without further ado, I thought I uploaded these. Where did it go? Oh, it did. Let's get it, y'all. So life raised by a boomer, by a baby boomer. Baby boomer birth years are those born from 1946 to 1964. All right. I come to the generation after that. Religion led to destruction, and that's what I believe. Generation X, our birth years are from 1965 to 1980. That's my birth year. And it is those years that we were raised by boomers. And that's a fact. So let's get it. And when I say this, this is across the board for all other races too, not just our community. Because if you got Generation X, people that look like me, you also have Generation X from other cultures, whether it's Asian culture, white culture. We have Generation X's. All right. So let's go through it. And they have their story of what they went through being raised by boomers. And a lot of our stories are very similar, no matter what our race is. So, how certain ideologies harmed our communities. Some religious movements in the 20th century, so when I say 20th century, I'm talking the 1900s, introduced teachings that deeply harmed our communities. Instead of growing us in our own indigenous identity, some groups taught us to see ourselves through the lens of anger, racial hostility, or separation. Movements that preach that the white man is the devil or that demonize entire groups of people did not heal us. They redirected our pain outward instead of helping us rebuild inward. These teachings grew out of trauma, not truth. They came from a place of hurt, not heritage. And they pulled many of our people away from their own indigenous identity, replacing it with ideologies that had nothing to do with our ancestors, our nations, or our original ways of life. That's a fact. Hey, Adrian, let's get it, y'all, because this is going to be deep, and I'm giving my perspective. My issue is not with individuals. It's with doctrines that fractured our communities, fueled divisions, and distracted us from reclaiming who we really are. My emotions, frustrations, and the urgency behind what I'm saying and what I'm talking about is very real. The way certain religious movements weaponized identity, anger, and trauma in ways that damaged our communities instead of healing them. And this is facts. Wow, we got 1,500 people in here. Y'all hit the like. This is beautiful. So, statement of truth about our ancestors. And I'm going to, for the sake, so that we know who we're talking about, say Black people. I'll use that. Okay. So listen, talking about Black people, AKA Indigenous people of the mainland. Many of our indigenous ancestors in the East were legally reclassified as Black, Negro, color, or mulatto by state governments. This is a documented historical reality. It happened through, and this is how it happened, through state census laws, racial integrity acts, court rulings, tax rolls, land disposition policies, and the elimination of Indian as a legal category in many states. So when I say we are replacing Black with Indigenous in my lectures, because that's who my people actually were. That's not erasing anything. That's restoring what was taken. And that emotional truth, today, we are in 2026 and are now allowed to be who we really are. And the truth just feels good. It's powerful. It's reclamation. It's identity healing. I'm not denying anyone else's history. I'm correcting my own people's history. I'm refusing to let colonial paperwork define our lineage. And that's my right. What I'm doing is exactly what so many communities across the East Coast, South, and Midwest are doing right now. Reclaiming names, reclaiming nations, reclaiming ancestors, and reclaiming stories. So there's no harm in that. So, how the Bible entered Black life in America. All right. Now, understand, we're not African Americans. There's a difference. This presidents know the difference. This administration know the difference between a real 14th Amendment being it applied to a specific population of people. That 14th Amendment applied to us. Okay, my ancestors that I just showed you, they was born in the 1850s. So that 14th Amendment applies to them. Those are not Africans who were brought here, my grandparents. Like I tell you, that's why I put that picture up there so you could see my grandparents, their 14th Amendment. That is different from today's Africans that are coming over here on the mainland trying to slump up in us. They were not, this is what Trump was talking about. They're not descendants of 14th Amendment, like of the 14th Amendment that applies to them. It doesn't. You're not going to, they can't come on the mainland and expect to be considered a 14th Amendment victim, may I say, because their ancestors weren't here. So let me go back and read this a little bit more. So now, that's another political topic to talk about because I can't wait till the Supreme Court comes out with that decision. So, how the Bible entered our community. All right. Indigenous people, those later classified as Black, as well as those forced onto reservations, were introduced to the King James Version Bible through English colonial missionaries, forced conversion campaigns, and institutions such as mission schools and praying towns. Yet the story is more layered. The first Bible many of our ancestors encountered was not the King James Version, but the Geneva Bible, okay, which the Puritan missionaries translated into indigenous languages before the King James Version became dominant. And the earliest indigenous people labeled Black in English America during a period when the Geneva Bible, not the King James Version, was still the primary English Bible in use. Recognizing this sequence matters because it shows how early English colonization shaped spiritual experiences of the same indigenous population long before King James Version became the standard text across the colonies. All right. One, enslavers and colonial churches, 1600s to 1700s. The King James Version, published 1611, was the standard English Bible in the colonies. Enslaved Africans were exposed to Christianity through plantation churches, white ministries, laws requiring religious instruction. The instruction almost always used the King James Version because it was the official Bible of the Church of England and the most widely available translation in the colonies. Enslavers often restricted which passages enslaved people could hear, emphasizing obedience while avoiding liberation themes. All right. Two, the rise of the Black church, 17 to 1800s. As enslaved and free Black people began forming their own congregations, they adopted the King James Version because it was the only Bible widely available, used its language to build sermons, spirituals, and liberation theology, reinterpreted the same text used to oppress them into a source of hope, identity, resistance, and community. Scholars note that the King James Version became foundational in shaping the Black religious experience, helping form a distinct spiritual and cultural identity. Okay. Why the King James Version became so deeply rooted in Black communities. According to research on Black church traditions, the elevated poetic language of the King James Version resonated with people who were told they were nobody, offering dignity and spiritual authority. Many Black preachers memorized and preached from the King James Version because it was the version they grew up hearing. Even in the 20th and 21st centuries, the King James Version remains the most beloved Bible translation in many Black churches. Cultural impact. The King James Version influenced Black preaching styles, spirituals and gospel music, civil rights rhetoric, Black literature, and oratory. It's phrases like, let my people go, no weapon formed against me, faith is the substance of things hoped for, became cultural anchors. Black people in America were introduced to the King James Bible through forced exposure under slavery, but they transformed it into a tool of liberation, identity, and community. The King James Version began central to the formation of the Black church and remains deeply embedded in Black religious life today. How trauma-based doctrines replace indigenous teachings. All right, here we go. So now, understanding in the 1850s, my grannies, and a lot of our grannies across these 50 states, after the formation of the 50 states, they, went to Sunday school, not like the public schools we have today. Their schooling was Sunday school. That was their learning. When they was going to school, they were learning the Bible. My great granny, the picture you saw, okay, let me just put it up again. And because a lot of us have these drawings, someone in the family drew this picture from a picture and shared it with our entire family. On the left, my grandma and grandpa. On the left, they went to Sunday school. They didn't go to school where you had your teacher and the teacher's ruler. Their school was Sunday school. That was their education. Sunday school. They went to Sunday school on their farms, on their plantations. My grannies here, they had a farm. All right. And that's where they raised their 13 children. Seriously, on a farm in South Carolina. Now, my grandpa over here on the right, he's from Georgia. And my grandma on the left of him, his wife, she is from South Carolina, Advil, Wilmington. She had all her kids in Wilmington, way far away from where the colonial part was. We was not a part of that. So they didn't go to public school like we did. Their school was church on the plantation. So that being said, Christianity, King James Bibles were instilled in them. That was a Bible brought to them. It wasn't a Bible that originated here, is what I'm trying to tell these clowns that are running around today in the Moses clothes, but we'll get to them later. When colonial pressure, land loss, and forced reclassification fractured indigenous communities, many people were left spiritually unanchored. Into that void came doctrines built not on ancestral teachings, but on trauma responses. These doctrines often centered fear instead of balance, emphasized punishment instead of reciprocity, replaced community-based spirituality with rigid hierarchies, disconnected people from their own ceremonies, languages, and cosmologies. Instead of healing the wounds of colonization, trauma-based religions often deepen them by teaching people to distrust their own heritage. It's deep. When the people lose their recorded identity, not by choice, but by law, anger becomes a natural reaction. Some movements built entire belief systems around the anger. These systems offered belonging through hostility, redirected pain toward other groups, framed rage as righteousness, substituted reaction for restoration. But anger cannot replace identity. It can only mask the wound temporarily. These doctrines filled the void left by erasure, but they did not restore the people to themselves. And we're still in reading about how anger-based religions filled the void left by identity erasure. How reclassification disconnected people from their nations. State governments didn't just change labels, they changed destinies by reclassifying indigenous people as Black, Negro, colored, or mulatto. And when we look at our history documents, when we go and, back to grab what we can of our grandparents and our ancestors, these are the different labels that we see on our paperwork that the government kept for us. And we're able to pull that information. So when you hear Trump talk about the 14th Amendment, we're those individuals. The 14th Amendment people have these labels on their papers. They're on census sheets. When we pull them, these are the identities we see. We don't see who we really are. We see this is what happened to the indigenous people here. This is why Trump is saying, whoa, we're going too far. All these foreigners coming over here, they're not no damn 14th Amendment people from back in that time. It was us and white people here. English. All right. And when we assimilated into their 50 states, our chiefs agreed to this. These are the reclassifications we got. See, on my birth certificate, it's changed now to American Indian. Shout out to Connecticut for that anyway, because a lot of states, give you a hard time. But in my state, I was able to fix that. On my birth certificate, it says American Indian, because the word, I don't even mind colored. But when I pull my records, this is what, because we did not go to Oklahoma. The only way that this government and our chiefs agreed was that you would be acknowledged as an Indian is if you went to Oklahoma and lived on a reservation. And you have to understand the mindsets of our ancestors. Well, my grandmother and her 16 kids, my great-grandfather and all of them, I can understand their position. I'm going to leave 200 acres and go squish up in Oklahoma with my kids. No, I'm not going. I'm staying right here. And so that's why Andrew Jackson said, well, if you stay, you're going to become a subject and under the jurisdiction in the state where you reside. So they stayed. And that's for a lot of us, a lot of Indians, us Indian, we didn't want to give up. Who wants to give up 200 acres of land when you're living on there? And that's why you raise your kid. We lived off the land. So when we look at our paperwork, we know who we are. Society here, the government knows who we are, who those 14th Amendment people are, the Indians and white people. We're all the 14th Amendment people because all of us were enslaved and some of us were free. But a lot of us were enslaved by our own ancestors. Like my grandfather, he was the master. They changed master they changed it today. It says head of household. Back then it was master. My great-great-great-grandfather was the master of the household, if they were using that terminology, but that changed. So the people where you see white on your census sheet, black, Negro, color, mulatto, were the 14th Amendment people. So this is what Trump is trying to check at the door. The former Indians. So by reclassifying indigenous people as black, Negro, colored, or mulatto, they erased tribal names from official records, several legal ties to land and community, disrupted kinship systems, and forced generations to grow up without knowing their nation, clan, or lineage. Reclassification wasn't just a bureaucratic act, it was a cultural amputation. And the spiritual confusion that followed created fertile ground for outside doctrines not to take root. Okay? Now, how reclaiming indigenous identity dissolves the need for racial hostility. When people finally reclaim who they are with documentation, with history, with clarity, the need for anger-based ideologies falls away. Reclaiming brings grounding, belonging, continuity, dignity, and a sense of home in one's own skin. When identity is restored, hostility loses its purpose. People no longer need doctrines that divide because they are no longer searching for themselves in someone else's story. Reclaiming indigenous identity replaces our anger with alignment, hostility with heritage, and confusion with clarity. So now, let's get it, y'all. Y'all ready? Smash that like button, y'all. Throw up some fire if y'all with me. So now, a lot of the reading is over. So in our ancestors being first under the Geneva Bible and then mastering the King James Bible, this is what divided our community seriously. And I remember this as a little girl, okay? The teachings. So now with the Bible came pastor versus Pookie. And I just use Pookie as a generic name. Pookie is the bad guy in the community. He's the gangster. He's the bad guy. So we just say Pookie so that we're not naming somebody evil or pointing out somebody evil. And then, by the way, we see Big Meech up here. Yes, he is home. And I love Big Meech. Okay. But I'm just trying to give everybody that's looking a view of the division in our community. All right. When I was a little girl in the 70s being born Gen X, you were either on God's side or the devil's side. Give me a 1 if everybody understand what I say when I say that. And that's any generation, whether you look like me or you're white, Italian, English, French, Jewish. You were either on God's side or you were on the bad side. All right. So in our little days, Martin Luther King, born in the silent generation, he was pastor. And I guess I could put Bumpy Johnson up there, but I didn't want to because Big Meech is so fine. I had to put somebody cute up there. So in this instance, Bumpy Johnson would have been the Pookie of that time. But I put Big Meech because he home. And y'all know Big Meech is so gorgeous. But he's still a Pookie. So Bumpy Johnson would have been the Pookie in that time. Either you were on God's side or you was on the devil's side. All right. And when we was in church, you know how our churches were. Let me just take this down for a minute. So now we get this picture in our head. Let me take this down for 1 second. You get this picture in your head. We was church. church girls, we had to wear skirts all the way down to our knees. And a lot of us wore shorts under our skirts so the boys couldn't look up our skirts. That was how strict we were. You're talking to child in the 70s. All right. And we were considered the good girls when you went to church and you listened to your parents and you was behaving in school. And but the problem with the church girl, she loved Pookie. Most church girls did not like the church boys. Now, there was always that one or two church boys that all the girls in the church liked, but who the hell wanted to be in the group like in one church guy that played the drums real good and the piano real good? So that left us with like, did y'all see Pookie? Girl, he fine, whispering, knowing if we was ever caught with Pookie, our father was going to tear our asses up if we was around Pookie. But in the background, we was winking at Pookie and saying, I'll meet you there. Meet me behind. Yes. So that was innocent stuff because church girls always loved the bad boys because they were opposites. So the church girl always loved Pookie but Pookie was the devil. He was bad considered to the church. And if you was with him and you got caught hugging, you backslide. You backslide. In the name of the Lord, you backslid. And then we have to go to church and pray and ask God forgive us for being caught hugging and kissing Pookie. All that kind of stuff. That's what we went through as children. So I call my era the last era of like the innocent days, because in the 70s, I was elementary and parents had more control over their children from the 70s and going back, not forward. The control was tough because dad was there. Everybody feared dad and mom. And those are things we couldn't do. We couldn't get caught with Pookie. Now, we had instances, of course, when there was always one girl that was wild and everybody knew her because she smoked cigarettes and she had boyfriends and she went to church and she ain't give a damn. We had those girls in our community, okay? But when I was little in the 70s, I was elementary. We had to wear slips under our dresses. It was very strict. Those were our morals. We had to wear slips under our dress. Girl, come to church dressed like sexy red and pink. Them chicks wasn't even getting baptized. They were not allowed in the church doors. Coming in there with cleavage and stuff. And no, they didn't. You know what? I don't even think people from sexy red generation and millennials, I'm not sure they knew what slips were. What the hell is a slip? I don't think they knew what a slip was. But a slip was the what you put on under a dress, especially if it was see-through. But even if it was see-through, my grandparents didn't give a damn. You was wearing a slip and stockings. You with them old ugly ass, and I say this again, them ugly ass brown stockings. Now, in our community, that's how it was in the 70s, growing up under a boomer generation parents. That's a fact. And that's not only for our community, white communities too. They were strict. White girls' asses had to wear slips and they had to be in the kitchen learning how to bake and everything with their mother. It was no such thing back then of a mother and a daughter half naked with tongue rings and rings in their eyes and tattoos and taking pictures on Twitter and Instagram. That shit did not go down when we was little. It was a regular picture with our skirts on with a damn Kodak camera. The stuff today is just like, ooh, we done made it to hell. The life today is like hell. What was described as hell, living a sinful life. That's what we grew up under, the indoctrination that we grew up under. Now, when it came to Christianity in the King James Version Bible, a lot of our grandfathers, the men, did not like going to church. So that left mama going to church with the kids. Dad would probably drop us off and then come and pick us up, but he was not going to church. Mothers began trusting and loving their pastors more than their husbands. That's the shit that was going on in like the 70s and back. The 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 20s. Mothers were looking to pastor and praying that their husbands would come to church. But our husbands was like, hell no, I ain't going there. He ain't my guy. You know what our fathers say, they still say it today. So now that is a dynamic that split up a lot of families in the household because of the indoctrination was so heavy on mom that she was afraid of the punishment if she left the church. So the church became before dad. So now y'all get the gist of what I'm talking about. But that's what we went through in the 70s. You know, we had to repent in front of the church. I never forget them days. And when I look at it today, I'm like, that's some bullshit. In our church, we had to stand up on Sunday and repent. And I'm serious. I would see elders getting up repenting in the church of their sins. And also us as little kids, we would get up. Elders would get up. Lord, forgive me for drinking that bottle of liquor this weekend. I did sin. I backslid. Lord, forgive me for gambling, playing dice, all kinds of stuff. Lord, forgive me for yelling at my wife. Forgive me for this. We had to tell everything. When I get up, Lord, forgive me. I spent my church money at the store before I went to church. I was supposed to put it in for the offering, and I bought candy. That was my devilish ass in the church. Yes, I did. Y'all remember them days? And that's supposed to be like something private. When you go in a English church that's Catholic, you know, that's private between you and, you know, the father. I would have rather have that. Got to be telling stuff and you got to be honest. If you're not honest, you know, God will punish you. So I was scared. So I would tell the truth. My mother gave me, you know, 50 cents or $1 to put in church, and I spent it on now later. We all had green tongues in church. You know, we wasn't giving that money to the offering with the candy store on the way to church. Oh, hell no. We was going to the candy store, dollar penny store. But that was the innocent life in the 70s compared to today. So this is why I say we now were forced with pastor versus Pookie. So our choice was either the church or roll with Pookie. Okay? Back in them days. So let's keep going. So in our community, and I think this is, you know, because I don't have a lot of slides today, and I'm telling you the truth. When I was little in the 70s, I remember this. Now, I don't remember the Hebrew Israelites, okay, until later in life. But I remember, and I'm telling you where it started from our community. After, you know, of years of our ancestors being indoctrinated and having a full understanding of Christianity, a lot of our men, you know, who refused to go be under pastor with the shouting and stuff, a lot of our men were just manly. This is what I remember coming in our community. It was real strange. They came in our community, the Nation of Islam. By the way, they are not accepted by other Islamic religions around the world. They don't, because what they preach is totally different from what real Islam people teach. Okay? Like Sunni Muslims, they're different from Farrakhan. Let's just say the Farrakhan teachings and all that. This is the religion that came after the Christianity that was instilled in us. All right. We're going back to the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s. Now, by the time I came aboard, being a little girl in the 70s, Nation of Islam came in our communities, these men, and taught the most hatred you would ever want your child to learn. And they are, and I can tell you in honesty, and this might sting, the Nation of Islam. This is the Malcolm X and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and these religious groups came in our hoods where we played double dutch outside. We were little Christian children. At okay, so now you have these guys walking around in the neighborhood with bow ties, and they're very handsome because they are our people, other Indians that decided not to be Christian. Now, a lot of them came from the same religious background that was instilled, but they just got sick of it and got out of it. All right. And these guys came around in our communities, and I'm going to tell you what they taught our people. The anger base. Our people brought, listen, what they brought to our community and taught. And I'm not lying. And if people don't like hearing this, I don't care. I'm telling you the truth. This is the accountability. They taught hate. They taught us that the white man is the devil. The white man is 666. That number belongs to the white man. It's in their Bible. All right. The Hebrew Israelites too, both one and the same. Seriously, the Nation of Islam under Malcolm X, Farrakhan, Honor Elijah Muhammad, and the Hebrew Israelites taught our communities that the white man is Satan. He is the devil. And, they misinterpreted the Bible and they called the white man and they taught us because they don't know reading and comprehension. They know reading and misinterpretation. They're masters at it. So they taught us that the white man is the blue-eyed beast because that's in the Bible. And now imagine telling a little girl, I'm a little girl in the 70s. Let me see. 1972, I was 6 years old. Hearing this, I'm alert. Then I turned 7. Then I returned 8 years old, 9 years old. I was a smart kid anyway. And all the kids in my community were smart. So by the time you're 10 and 11 years old, you're being heavily influenced by a religion that not only taught you karate. Now, what excited us when we were little in the 70s? All right, this is the Gen X under the boomers. In the 70s, we all loved Bruce Lee. I don't know no community in the inner cities across the 50 states that did not love Bruce Lee. We love Asian culture. We all did karate. So the Nation of Islam, if you join their nation, you got a new name with an X as your last name. All right. Same shit with Hebrew Israelites. And they taught you, sit you in there and instilled in you that the white man is the devil and that the 666 that they speak about in the Bible is the number for the white man because he's only going to rule for 6,666 years. That's the white man's number. That's what they taught us as children. And they also taught that he's the mark of the beast. And when you see white people, look in their hair when you get a chance, and you're going to see the numbers 666. Telling that to a 10-year-old is fucking scary, first of all. And you believe that because you're a kid. And then they grow up into grown men looking like this with these damn bow ties on. See him standing. Now, the Nation of Islam have control. You took them out of their street clothes and put bow ties on them in suits. And now they're guards to protect you so that you could teach the rhetoric that you teach. You're saying the white man, you're teaching all these women that are in the background. See how they're all dressed in white uniforms with their heads covered. These a lot are the wives to the men standing around the podium guarding Malcolm X. All right. And a lot of them had multiple wives, by the way. And on the pulpit, teaching young men and women that the white man is our enemy. They're the devil. They came here and took our land, and they're the devil, and they're only going to rule for 6,666 years. That shit scared me as a kid. So now when white people come into our hoods, we're looking at them because they look strange now. Now, guarantee you, now remember when I was little in the 70s, I remember white people trying to connect with us. Trying. And don't tell me, because if you're if you are a millennial, I'm going to tell you like I'm your mama, shut your ass up right now, because we're talking about Gen X era. Y'all was not born in the 70s. So you got to shut up for a minute until I get to your era. Big Meech and Terry was born in the 70s and the 60s like me. Bobby Brown, all of us. This is our era when we were elementary kids. So we know what we're talking about in our era. And y'all know what y'all talking about when I get to y'all era. But in the 70s, all right, the same time, these Muslims was coming around telling us that the white man's the devil, and that scared us, traumatized us. And then didn't make it any better. The damn movie Roots came out. That scared us and put more hate in us because they tried to make it seem like that was our historic life. And we ain't no shit about Africans in our community. All we knew is we seen sad commercials about these little black kids starving with big bellies and a bug crawling on their face. We didn't know we were Indians, but we would see those commercials and it would be sad. Said that we were cursed. Okay. And you got the Muslims telling a story, a fucking lie. Maybe they were hired to instill this in us. When we know we got the factual documents of what actually would happen to our ancestors in the 70s. All right. So the Muslims did a huge job changing our mindsets and thoughts about white people, period. That was them. Because first of all, by the time I'm a child in the 70s going to school, I'm in elementary school. 1970, I'm 4 years old. So I'm in kindergarten or pre-K. And the Muslims running around telling these stories from inner city to inner city across the 50 states, building up this hate in our people towards white people. Now, like I said, as a little girl, and see, I'm a product of Connecticut. I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up accustomed to the lifestyle of a Connecticut-born baby. And I'm proud to be born in Connecticut. I'm serious. I really am. And I remember being a little girl, about 10 years old, white people did try to come and connect with us in our communities in the 70s. They were the Church of Latter-day Saints. They came and we absolutely loved them. We did, because they were fun. I remember this as a kid. So I was accustomed. I don't know if y'all remember, if you are a Generation X like me, they came on bicycles and it was handsome white kids, a little older than us, but inviting us to come to their church. And let me tell you something. When I tell you the Muslims did a fucking job on our people, they did a fucking job because I wanted to go. I wanted to go. They passed out flyers and lollipops. These were a bunch of, the women didn't come. It was mainly white young teenage teenagers from the ages, they had to be between the ages of 14 and 18. And they came to our community and we wasn't scared because they was friendly. They was totally opposite of what the Nation of Islam people was teaching. But I thought like a child. My parents thought like Malcolm X and them did. They were rude to him. I remember this shit. And they would knock on my grandmother's door, and I'd be the first one running up there, like the little devil smiling, because I wanted to go. And the things, and I'm not ashamed to mention it, because I'm only substantiating the fucked up mindset that my parents had and their fucked up beliefs. Right? I'm talking in the North in Connecticut. I don't know nothing about the South. I'm a North born Indian. All right. So my traditions are in the North. And I remember when they would leave, it was so joyful, me being a kid. And, I'm 10 years old now and I'm looking, and then they leave. And, my sister was the same way. So, Ma, could we go? The first thought, you ain't going to no fucking white devil church. I'm using the exact verbiage that was used in my household. I was stunned. I really thought by my parents and grandparents being nice to them in their face when they were sharing their church information that we were going to be able to go, because we wanted to go. All we saw was some fun white guys coming in the community on bicycles and talking about church stuff. They always wore black with white shirts and ties. And the shit that I heard, look, I was the fucking black seed, fine, of the family, because I never agreed with my mother. I never agreed. I'm sorry. I just didn't. But I remember, and my sister, and she can verify this shit too. I was like, we could go to the church because the church was just down the street. You ain't going no fucking white devils. And I'm like, I was so shunned. What you gonna do if they touch your monkey? Now y'all know what a monkey is. If you from the South, that's an old term used as what a lady's private part is. That was their thought. That's how it was coming up under a boomer. Their hate and anger was instilled in us about white people. But you forget, it really fucked our heads up, because in my community was our elementary school, William Samuel Johnson Elementary School, Chopsy Hill Road in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We had predominantly white teachers. We had maybe one or two black teachers, but our predominant teachers were white. And we loved and fought for our teachers because we fought to be the white teacher's pet. We loved our teachers. And for our parents to react like this to the boys after they left of the Latter-day Saints was devastating for me. I like really hated them, and I'm serious. You always running up to some old fucking white prick. That's what I would hear in my head. I still remember this shit. But we went to school and our teachers was white. So now you got a 10-year-old kid hearing this shit from the Muslims about white people being the devil, and you forgot we got to go to school. So we're spending the day looking in our teachers' heads for 666 and all this fucked up shit that they put in our heads. The Nation of Islam, which is why I understand why it's not accepted by other religious groups. I do not believe the white man is the devil. I don't believe that. And I never did. I don't believe that they got fucking 666 in their head. Okay? I don't. What I do know is a lot of shit that you stated about the white man and you taught Nation of Islam people taught about, oh, the white man raped our grandmother. How the fuck you know, based on my family and the way the women act, you're calling it rape? When I know damn well, and my family, no, she laid down and opened her legs because she liked the white guy. You called it rape because he was a white guy. What about when y'all fuckers do it? Because y'all got the same backgrounds of what you're explaining about the white man. So obviously, if you're gonna, I wouldn't even come out my mouth and say that. I'm serious and teach that. Saying the white man raped my mother. What was your punk ass doing? I'm telling you, this is the shit that I hated being around my family for. And I knew, children would grow up. And I would hear this a lot. We heard it a lot. You wanted to say this. Oh, when I grow up, I want to be just like my mother. Not me. I wanted to get the fuck away from them. Now I'm vibing and I know I'm using potty mouth language. But a lot of women in my community and men have my same attitude. A lot of women and men across the 50 states have my same attitude as an adult and coming up as a teenager. I couldn't wait. A lot of people say, oh, I want to grow up and be like my mom. Oh, I want to grow up and be like my dad. We could not say that because we went to school and learned from white women and white men as teachers, being our teachers as elementary school. And they were nothing like what the Nation of Islam was explaining. That's what fucked our heads up. But what about Mr. Stein or Miss Stein or Miss Lincoln? These were our white teachers. They're not like that. So you're fucking lying to me. I knew my teacher wasn't like that because we were all fighting to try to be the teacher's pet. And of course, I always was the teacher's pet. I was the kid that the white teacher wanted to take home to play with her kids. Yes. And I was just devastated again because my teacher asked if she could pick me up. The boundaries were different back then. And so I could come and play with her kids. Mama, you ain't going to that white bitch house. Oh, I was so angry. My teacher lived not far from the district. And everybody got the same kind of story. Didn't live far from the district school, but she had a fucking pool in her backyard. And I was going to go over. This is shit that my parents took away from me because in their heads was instilled stuff from the previous generation and it carried forward. You were taught and indoctrinated by these Nation of Islam punks and these Hebrew Israelites that the white man's the devil. So because of that, you kept me from going to swim in my teacher's backyard. So why would my attitude was always, I'll never fucking grow up and be like this lady. I got my ass whooped. Yeah, I did. Because I was always running my mouth. I was naughty because I asked the questions that got to their soul. And the older I got, the more my mother couldn't stand me and couldn't take it till the point where I had to go and live with my father by the time I was 12. Because like I said, I have 12 brothers. She was like, you got to take her. I can't deal with this. And as I got older, even, when I turned like 16 and 17, I was like, I began to challenge my mother. Because by then, I got so many damn ass whoopings from him trying to discipline me to see things and believe things the way they do. But you're sending me to school to learn under white teachers. And I see a different being that you're explaining. So the older I got, in high school, especially in high school. Now, by that time, we had moved from Connecticut, and my mother was an intelligent woman. I'm not going to give you, not even going to lie. My mother was an underwriting manager at Aetna in Hartford, Connecticut. By then, we moved. I was in high school doing my last 2 years, and and she still had that same attitude. Okay. And I would ask questions that she would say about racism and shit like that. And I'm like, okay, do you go to the doctors? Because 2 to 1, I know your doctor's not black. Your doctor is either white and a male, and he's going to give you a pap smear. Did he say, I'm not touching your black coochie? Hell no. He went and he did his job. Did he discriminate against you? And my mother kept her mouth like this. It was either she kept her mouth like this or she was going to punch me in mine. But by then, I'm 16. All right. And I would never, ever talk back to my mom, even though I always knew she was wrong. And I would never raise my hand at my mom. I knew better. I'm a kid of the 70s. Okay. But I asked her the shit that made her go like this. She had to do that shit because I was checking her at the door. What if you go in the doctor's office? Did he refuse to check your coochie to see if you got any infections or anything? So why are you being racist against him? I would ask the real fucked up shit. That's why I knew I was going to be a prosecutor like Lady. But no, when I was little, I made a vow to myself that I would never grow up to be like that. I couldn't wait to get out from under her because I knew I couldn't leave until I was of the age. And I graduated young from high school. I graduated when I was 16. No, when I was 17. I wasn't 17 yet. I graduated young. I graduated very young. And the day I graduated is the day I left home. And I never looked back to move back home because I knew that I didn't want to be anything like my past generations. I knew it. And when I tell you that our people had to come out of a slum, I don't mean physical slum. I mean a mental slum because we were all taught that shit across the states. All taught that shit. And I just was not the child to think like that. And I still can't to this day. So when I say these religious groups like this dude, these are the religious groups that effed up the minds of young black men, Latino men. Yeah. These are the groups that did it. They instilled deep hatred in our men. You could disagree. That's cool. But I would love to hear why you disagree. Because this is what happened to a lot of people across the 50 states. They joined these organizations and the I'm talking about like the Nation of Islam and these Hebrew Israelites, the religious groups that destroyed, had a huge impact on destroying and fucking up the mindsets of our young men. These groups still teach hatred today. They're still on the street. I don't care how big they get. And then they become these angry men who can't open up businesses. They be on YouTube all fucking night, 24 hours. So I know you don't have a job. Just talking shit. Hate white people. I would never want my kid around any of these dudes. I'll drop the link in a minute when I get it, when I'm ready, because I'm gonna let y'all come up and vibe with me. I am. I don't hold the type of segments that are whole on other channels because I don't want it just be me. I'm telling you my experience being Generation X, these groups taught our men hate. I don't even understand why the state systems allow them to get them in prison. Now, there's different groups of that practice Islam that do not teach like these people. They don't teach that hatred. They don't teach that white man is the devil. That was the sole reason why Malcolm X went to Mecca or wherever he went to learn how Muslims really practice. He became a Sunni. He got from under Elijah Muhammad's horrible teachings. Because when I really did the research on Elijah Muhammad, this is a little fucking black dude from down south who has a fucking 6th grade education. And he had that much power over our people. And then these Hebrew, I don't even have to talk about the Hebrew Israelites because they read the only book they read out of is they twist the narrative. Now, you know damn well pastor in 1970 was not teaching that the Bible, the God so loved the world that he gave his own begotten son. We all know that verse. These Hebrew Israelites teach that they only meant for them. They black asses. That's why they're still waiting for this black guy with a fucking white afro to come out the clouds, or at this point, a black guy's gonna come out in the spaceship and rescue all of them. These niggas smoke hash brown weed, because to teach that and believe it, you got to be smoking something real strong. They're waiting for some black dude with a white afro and fucked up feet to come out of a spaceship to help them and change the world around. Yeah, okay. Trump did speak about the new guns he got. These shits make your fucking skin melt. So when that dude come, when that dude with the afro come on the spaceship, he gonna be in for some shit. So I'm just letting y'all know that. But these people, I'm talking in my era, I don't know what they teach now, but I know those Hebrew Israelites have not changed. And they building up the none. They just a gang at this point. So I'm gonna finish up these slides, and I promise you I'm going to open the segments. Across communities in all 50 states, many of our men were approached by anger-driven religious leaders and movements that spread frustration, hostility, and confusion. Facts. These teachings took root in our neighborhoods and shaped the mindsets of our men, women, and children. And the effects are still visible today. This influence disrupted healthy family structures and prevented many from growing into strong husbands, wives, and positive future generations our communities deserve. Nation of Islam and the Black Hebrew Israelites indoctrinated and poisoned the minds of our communities with horrible rhetoric by teaching that the white man is the devil. The white man is the blue-eyed beast. The white man flood our communities with drugs and guns. The white man raped our ancestors. The white man took our land. The white man's number is 666. This is the shit I heard from these religious groups. So why these slides matter? These slides aren't about attacking anyone, it's about truth telling and responsibility. It says, we can't heal if we don't acknowledge what shaped us. We can't rebuild if we don't confront the forces that misled us. We can't reclaim our identity if we keep repeating doctrines that were never ours. And we can't strengthen our families without accountability from every direction: men, women, elders, and youth. This is not about judgment. This is about restoration. These slides, and I'm keeping it real, these slides are not about blame. It's about accountability. Our community deserves honesty. We deserve clarity. We deserve to understand what outside ideologies, trauma based teachings, and anger driven doctrines shaped our families and our futures. Accountability is not punishment, accountability is healing. It's how we reclaim ourselves. And I leave with this. I'm sorry. I know I stung some people, and I don't give a damn what you say. You're if you're not man and woman enough to be accountable for the actions in our community, it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. We all deserve what we get in our life when we're not accountable and we do things that harm our community. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care. And you're not going to use religious scriptures to weaponize me. You're not. Because it ain't going to work. It ain't worked back then and it ain't going to work now. I'm telling you that what was going on in our community as a Generation X child in the 70s and how fucked up our minds became. I'm glad I wasn't part of that. I've gone to some teachings, but it wouldn't resonate with me. I got the hell out. No, I knew. I'm so glad that the inner me was able to guide my mind. Because if I was part of those groups, I wouldn't have a degree. I wouldn't have my degrees. I'd be some fucked up chick with a fucked up mindset, not knowing how to interact with other cultures. And I am so glad. I am. And I don't care. And this is why a lot of women in my community don't relate with me, because I'm keeping it a buck. I don't feel sorry for women who don't take accountability. If your kids is out of order, now I'm children, I'm saying, if your children are out of order, it's because of you and nobody else. When you don't take control of your child's mind, it's your fault, no fucking body else's. I don't care what you say. And it's so sad. It's so sad. So when I say that, a lot of our young men, I say it's my generation that effed up our community. We were the starting point of who fucked up our communities. The Gen X, Big Meech and them is my ex, is in my generation. It started with my generation. With the selling drugs and getting the stinking Lincolns and wearing the big gold chains and living because it wasn't because they couldn't get jobs. It's because that money was good. And that's what they chose to do. And a lot of men in my era chose that lifestyle. And a lot of them, from choosing that lifestyle, what happens? I hated the 90s. I swear. I was 23 years old in 1990, 22 in 1990. And I'm telling you, in Bridgeport, Connecticut in 1990, that was the most, excuse my language, my fanny mouth, that was a fucked up life to live. I ran from my community that I was born in to Hartford. I had my baby in 92. And I was like, oh no. Because back then in the 90s, every other day, somebody I grew up with was shot in the head and killed by the same guys that they played in the sandbox with in elementary school. They grew up to kill each other because that drug lifestyle did that. The girl you played patty cake with is the girl who became the crackhead from the boy who was playing with the racing car because he sold it to her. Then they get all these diseases. Everything was going. I ran with my baby to Harvard. Not to say that Harvard wasn't going buck wild, but I had better opportunity and more room to maneuver. I said, I will not raise my daughter in this fucking city, Bridgeport. I still hate that city right now. Bridgeport. I do. So it was my generation. And now what we have today, which is so bad, because I really understand why young men will get on YouTube and call another girl, you're a bitch, you a hoe, you stupid this. A lot of them don't have good mothers. So they don't have respect for mothers or somebody in a mother image. So I get all these, I'm MSW, I diagnose. This is what they'll do. They were detached children and they sold drugs. A lot of them are shameful because they can't read past like third grade level. So they're ashamed. They're ashamed to turn on their avatars because a lot of them are like 30 years old, but they look 70 from doing drugs from the 90s. I don't look far-fetched from how I looked in 92 to how I look now because it's the lifestyle you choose. And a lot of them are ashamed and they're bitter and they're angry. So at this point, they're angry with the world and the white man and saying, let us pull away from the United States system and start our own shit. Well, you go ahead. This is why I have the attitude like, you must be out your fucking mind. You just did 25 years in prison. You're mad because you have a criminal record and you can't get a job nowhere. So you want to drag all the black people you grew up with you to start some shit against the United States or start your own land. I ain't coming with your ass. You should have had that mindset 25 years ago before you went in prison. And so they become angry with people like me and people like Anton Daniels because we of different choices in lifestyle. We're better than you. No, that's not my attitude. It ain't the point that we're better than you. We just didn't do what you did, and we're not going to allow you to call us boule and all these other names because we chose a different path of life. So now you bitter 50, damn near 60-year-old men like me are on YouTube. Sister Bethy's the bitch. She's the agent. First of all, I ain't no fucking agent. She's this. No, I'm not. I just don't bow down to your beliefs. I wasn't raised in the Nation of Islam. And I damn sure wasn't raised under those black Hebrew Israelites that look like fucking idiots in New York, running around calling the white man the devil. But do they really fucking know that what they look like doing that on the street? They look like the devil to me themselves. So I'm telling you what messed our community up. It was y'all. You got to be accountable. So when I come back to try to teach decency and young kids, I remember the behaviors of my parents when the Church of Latter-day Saints came to want to do something nice with little black kids. And they still have that mindset today. These bitter dudes on the panel. But to me, that's cowardness. The men I desire are men that are able to stand up and speak publicly to be a positive solution to everything in the world. He speaks peace. He's not afraid. He don't gotta ask, the congressman, could you just put a shield over me so nobody can see me? A man that can't turn his camera on is a coward. That's the first sign. A coward hide behind an avatar. I don't give a damn what you say. I don't care. I don't even like doing segments without showing my face. I want my audience to see me and connect with me. And if they can't, leave, unsubscribe. I got a lot of subscribers. You say I got dots. No, I have a lot. And I'm telling you, whether you want to believe me, but you're going to see that soon. I have a lot of powerful politicians in my chat right now under fake avatars because they can't show who they are. But you hear from them publicly, you just don't know that this is the Bethy chat. But I know. So call them dots, call them all what you want. But this is why I can't share my channel no more. Because they won't stay. And like, whose channel did you send me to? They was fighting and killing each other. So I can't share my screen anymore because that traumatizes them. They don't want to see that type of behavior. And I try. It's hard. It's tough. I keep doing that. I'm going to lose my channel subscribers. Right now, I got 1,300 people watching. So I have to just be right. Focus on my newspaper. Focus on my community and my way, because I'm never going to see the way. I'm never going to have the mindset of anybody in my community that wants to pull away from the 50 states and start there. I just cannot do it. My family, when you got records of your family fighting in the fucking Revolutionary War, okay, Civil War, World War I, World War II, I'm not pulling away. This is my country. I'm Indian. I can't. Hell no. I still have family in the military right now, active. I ain't going nowhere, and I'm not joining against nobody to fight against my own fucking country. That flag is my flag too. So I'm gonna give 60 seconds. I'm gonna put my overlay up. You're not coming up here flashing your small penises and all that stuff because I'm not letting you speak. So if you're gonna come up here with, some dignity. Have some respect for yourself. I'm gonna put the link in the chat and give me a few minutes. I'm gonna run and get me some water. I think I want some more. No, I'm gonna save it because I want coffee. But I'm gonna put the link in the chat now. And just give me a few minutes to get back because I want to run and get some water. Where's that little thing? Copy. I'll pin this to the top. I think I'm doing this right. Paste. Yeah, I think I'm doing it right. Yeah, I am. Let me pin this to the top. Sit tight in the back. I'm going to take a ladies break. Let me pin this to the top. The link is pinned to the top. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to just sit tight back here and I'll be there to get you. Okay. What is your name, brother? I got my overlay up because people like coming up here flashing their little small body parts.
Hey, what's up, Sister Bethy? It's me. It's Real Truth. But you
Real
see
truth.
MMRX up there. Yeah, how you doing?
Where do I know you from?
Real Truth. You've been knowing me for years. I was supposed to do gardens for your
Oh, for the land. Okay, I could take my overlay down.
yeah, we've been knowing each other
I'm
for a
gonna
long
ask you
time.
if you keep your camera on, brother.
I
'Cause
am. That's why I
oh,
turned it
okay.
on.
All right. Hey, Elise. Hey, Big Chief. All American. Baraka, y'all can hit the link. Y'all sisters, don't be cowards. Come on up. I mean, you have a right to speak against what I said, but I'm just telling you how it was when I came up.
I didn't come to fight you.
No. I'm talking about the chat, honey.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
to the chat. Let me see. Let me take this overlay down. So, what? And we want to stay with the topic.
I got you.
What generation are you from? If you was born in the 70s, you're a Gen X.
Yeah, we from the same gen. I'm 72. You
Okay,
6 years older than me. So I'm
you're
getting ready to
from
turn
the
54.
Generation X. You're Generation
Mhm.
X. Doesn't matter.
I
The
was
age
laughing.
doesn't
I was laughing with you. I used to go to church with my little new penny loafers on, so I'm right there with you.
matter.
We put a dime in them. Make
Mm,
them look a little flashy. You know how that go. But what I wanted to come up and say, when there's something positive being done and some crap being thrown on top of it, I mean that's what you kind of saying about the Nation of Islam because you know you got to learn how to love people. Not just because of how they look, the color of their skin, but the character of their content, right? And so that all the white man is a devil stuff, it's horrible. And if you're a good person in your soul and in your heart, you don't wanna talk about people like that. But it's so many of them that are, really messed up. And on our side too. So the blame is just all over the place. And I
So
think
let me ask you this.
Mhm.
You're confirming what I said. Did you not hear? And I want you to be honest. The Nation of Islam, those Farrakhan people and whoever, did they not teach that the white man is Satan
So what I'm gonna say
and
about
they're
that?
the blue-eyed beast? Did you ever hear that taught
Yeah,
from the Nation of Islam? Yes or no?
yes, but what I'm gonna say
Okay.
is this. What I'm gonna say is this. That was the part that kind of separated me away from full force going into that. Uh, but a lot of the teachings taught you the self respect, the self discipline, the power that you needed because we weren't getting that from the church. We were seeing what the church was doing, and it wasn't no leaders. You got the boule out here. All skin folk ain't kin folk. It was like everybody had a part in dividing us for their own reasons, and that's what you had to figure out. So I wouldn't say that the Nation of Islam made everybody bad. What it did was it had its own agenda, and if you caught on to it, then maybe you didn't follow that like Malcolm did. He moved away from it because he felt like, man, his brothers, they look like me trying to kill me. Uh, everybody I see that don't look like me are not just the bad guys. But when you got them doing the majority of all the destruction and you see the results of it, like you said, we Gen X, we've seen it. See, my mom, on her birth certificate, Negro, she couldn't go in a restaurant. The white people used to spit at her. The cops didn't come to save her. The white people didn't want us hanging around. So, but you had friends, like I had white friends I grew up with, right? But then when they
All
got
right.
with
Where let me ask you this. Where
Mhm.
did you grow up at? Because that makes a
South
huge difference too.
North Carolina, the
Okay.
last
So
state to free the slaves. Yeah, I'm from here.
okay. So in those see that's the difference between the North and the South. We
Correct.
didn't here in the North, we didn't experience signs up and sitting in back of the bus.
And let
We
me
didn't
say,
experience that. Someone like me growing up, I didn't experience that. And even my mother was born in the 40s, and
right.
my grandmother was born in the 30s. And
Mhm.
in the northern states, we didn't have signs up that said whites only and coloreds only. We didn't have those signs. And
Oh,
we didn't have laws where black people had to sit in the back of the bus and black people had to get up out the seat if a white person came out. So we didn't experience that. So this is the biggest um
yeah.
misunderstanding between the northern people and the southern people. We what in the north, we didn't experience that. So it's hard for someone like myself to identify with your story. But go ahead.
So listen, you got to understand, right? They played us against each other, and we're talking tribes, right? I'm from the Tuscarora, right? I'm from the Royal Tribe of the Tuscarora Nation, Kingston, North Carolina. They took the G out, but anyway,
Who is
that half
they?
of that
They identify
the,
they.
the
Who is
government,
they?
the
The
government
government.
separated. Yeah, they separated the tribes. So the northern part of the tribes went with the federal. So the line. You got to separate the line. The ones that stayed in the South that kept fighting, we were attacked by man, uh, Southern Indians. We were attacked by a lot of people right here on the East Coast. So, but the most of our tribe went to the New York tribe. So what I'm saying is, when you go up north, these people were separated from the Southern people, right? And then in the South, they wanted to keep the slavery for their reasons, or however they had their system going. And the feds had a whole nother thing that they were trying to do, what we're seeing the result of today. They had that world domination takeover. They were petty down here. So the North and the South was split, and it was different living. And then you had more boule up there, and they had their target on the South, the Southern people, to get the minds of the people. You got to understand all that. It's a lot. Look, you can see right here, my people are from here, this land where I'm from. My family is one of 10 families that started the town that I live in. So I grew up taking care of the land. I know my history. The year goes back even further than this 1850s right here. That was just my third great grandmother. And this is my fourth great grandmother. So that's a little bit further back. So,
Okay. So,
yeah.
so let me ask you this because
Well, let me,
this is
this going
very
to solve,
serious.
this will solve it. This will solve it, how I feel. The blame lies on so many sides. I can't take one side. I can just only try to be a good person like you're trying to be. But I can't take the white man's side. I can't take the black people's side. I got to take the side of the good people. That's where our real brothers and sisters are. And you got to find them. It's through a soul search. That's why we're in this spiritual war right now. But go ahead.
Well, I'm saying my whole point is this, and with this segment of what actually destroyed the mindset of our people towards a race of people.
No,
You don't believe that it had something to do with the religions.
let me tell you
I mean,
something.
if you're taught from a child that the white man is the devil,
So
that
it depends. It
I mean, and then
depends.
you grow up into a grown man in the same organization.
Listen, you got to understand. A lot of people still ain't never heard Islamic speeches or Malcolm X speeches. It depends on where you were, right?
Who never heard of a Malcolm X speech?
Listen, in the South,
It was on live TV.
listen, listen.
So you
I'm
say
talking
they
about
didn't have TVs down south?
what I'm trying to tell you is they didn't really get the Southern people like that. It was Christianity that got us. It was that white man with that Bible that got us. That's what got us. So up north, if that's where they got y'all, Chicago, all them places up north, see, that wasn't down here. That wasn't really down here, not like that, not prevalent. It was the Southern Bible with the white man. My grandmother, everybody had the white man with the blue eyes. That was God, and you a nigga. So it depends on where you were. Remember, like I just said, Islam didn't even get that big. Nation of Islam didn't even get that big until Malcolm X came and started spreading it. Right? He
Okay,
one
so
really got that thing bigged up.
what I can say is I do believe you when you say in the South, because the South, our Southern brothers and sisters, like I said, they did grow up on the Bible. That's what I explained earlier in my segment. Because my grandmother, my family came to Connecticut in 1929 from South Carolina.
Oh,
And they went to school on their farm, on their plantation. It was Bible school. So I can agree with you when you say that they predominantly lived off the Bible in the South,
eh,
whereas in the inner cities, in the 70s, from what I remember, okay, when I was a kid, but in the inner cities, starting back in the rural 20s, is when Malcolm X and all of them were out teaching.
Malcolm wasn't in the 20s.
Well, I'm saying in the 20s, you had the 20s and the 30s.
It wasn't even that big. That's what I'm telling you. It didn't get big until Malcolm came in. And you got to look when
Oh,
Malcolm,
you're
listen,
talking about, all right, when was Malcolm X out teaching?
Malcolm was there like
50s, in
in
the
the
70s.
late 50s, 60s, 70s,
Okay, but prior to that,
or the
you
60s,
also
70s.
had,
Yeah.
before Malcolm X, it was somebody else.
But
You
Elijah
had,
wasn't even that big. Elijah wasn't that big. Remember, it was very
no,
small.
right, okay.
And one thing, let me say this before you say anything else, right? In the South back then, oh, they were
Mhm.
hanging. I'm gonna say it, and excuse my French. They were hanging niggas. They had it was bad down here. It wasn't good at all. I don't care how they try to sugarcoat it and sweeten it up and all that other stuff. And also you got to remember them first people that came over here and started destroying our people were Quakers. They came with that book. The Pope sent them over here. We've been at war since the
Uh,
1400s with these people. So
okay,
you know,
hold up, hold up, because we're leaving out a lot in history that we're not explaining, and people see this stuff and they won't bring it to forefront. These hangings in the South, okay, I agree that that went down, but what we're not telling the truth and being honest about. It wasn't just white men hanging black men on trees. It
Wait a
was
minute.
us doing that stuff to
So
each other
listen,
too.
you can't mix that because listen. Do
Oh,
you understand they sold
no, no, no,
tickets?
no. You
Listen,
no,
we
you got
never
wait,
sold
wait, wait,
tickets.
wait. Hold up, brother. Hold up.
Mm-mm, you wrong.
Hold. You got the whole up. You on my show.
I
We're
get
gonna
it.
talk. We're gonna talk in a manner in which they hear you and me. And
Hmm.
I'm telling you from the research I got, we tell the story that white men hung black men in the South. Okay, that did happen. I don't deny it. But we don't also talk about the black men that hung black men in the South. That went down too. And
Wait a
for
minute.
you to sit up here and deny that is disingenuous because it's
It's
true.
not. I've never seen any. Listen to this. Okay, so
Well,
what we're gonna go
you
off
were
of?
born in the
Hold on,
70s, so
hold
you
on,
weren't gonna see it.
hold on. But I would have heard it in the community, and I would have heard it through the talks because you're talking to
Oh,
someone.
they're never gonna tell you the truth.
Listen, I grew up. Listen, I grew up. I was the young man that hung around old people. I hung around
So
all
was
the
I.
elders. And so what I'm saying is I would have heard some stories of it, but what I have seen is pictures. I have seen people buying tickets to go to hangings. I have seen all these white children and people in the crowd having picnics. You understand where a picnic come from, where all this stuff comes from. So I get what you're saying, but I'm saying you can't include us to the degree because it's like you can't call a black person racist. We can't be racist because we're in a system. It's just a systematic thing. But I get what you're saying. Ain't nobody innocent. I get that. I get that. If a white man raped somebody, a black man raped somebody, I get that. But you can't start mixing that stuff up and try to say that we're the problem, right? I kind of get why uh, this Muslim thing came about because it was so bad. But but then when people have hidden agendas and it don't turn out to be what we really need or what you thought it was, that's what makes it even worse. So, but I'm here with you, Sister Bethy. I'm here with you. I love
Okay.
you.
So
All right.
okay, I love you too, brother. But I'm still going to reiterate the truth, and you're gonna listen. And anybody that want to get on the panel and give the smoke, I'm always here for the smoke. But we're gonna listen to each other. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I'm not keeping nothing back, and that's what I won't do. Back in the time when these killings and hangings was going down, before white men even came to this shore, we leave a lot of shit out because we want to blame the white race so fucking bad. You're gonna let me finish because I'm gonna
Okay.
give you the mic. We always want to blame the white man so fucking bad because right now he's in power, right? We want to blame him so fucking bad. Before white men came to our shore, and I'm using everybody that's watching, I'm using my community language because it's a language that we all understand and can relate.
No, just
I'm not in my professional
do it.
mode. I'm talking to, I have to address my audience. Like I said, I have a lot of politicians and people watching my channel. Okay. And I'm just reminding them before white men came to our shore, niggas, and I'm using the right language, Indians was fighting and warring against each other. If they wasn't, there would have been no law of peace or agreement of peace. Don't shake your head, man, unless you're gonna pull up proof. Is there not
I will.
something? Is there not a document called the Great Law of Peace for the Indians? Is it?
I'm not
Yes or
sure about
no?
that. What I can
All
add to
right.
what you're saying
Hang
is
on.
this.
No, you're not. You're not. You're gonna be quiet because I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna give you the mic and not interrupt you. But you got to put up with what I have to say if you want me to listen to you. Because I like to uh not practice what I preach. Great law of peace. Let's pull this up.
I
All
was only
right.
going to say a 10-second thing.
No, Yeah, well, you're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry. Now you got a problem with wanting to wait, and that's something our people got to learn is patience. But here we go. This document is the Great Law of Peace. That was an agreement with the Indians. The Great Law of Peace. Law of Peace. And that's a fact. There is a document. Google it, pick it up, whatever. The only reason why a great law of peace exists is to agree not to war with each other. So we was warring with each other before white colonizers came to this soil. Secondly, we are notorious for blaming the white man for every fucking thing that happens in our community. And this is the part that I hate about our people. And I swear I hate it with a deep passion. When men get up, they raped our ancestors. So the fuck did our families? We did the same thing. And I'm giving you the story. That's why a lot of black women fled the South when their husbands were drafted in the damn service because grandpa done had 3 kids by his granddaughter. That kind of shit. That's why we had these special kids in church, and we called them kids water on the knee. That came from incest. We did the same shit that we accusing white people for. This is what I'm talking about accountability. And if you sat with your grandmothers and grannies like I did, a lot of us are going to hear these stories. A lot of our people that fled here north never wanted to look back south. A lot of our families are separated because of things like this that happened in the South. When you hear master whooping somebody on the plantation, that was your granddaddy whooping his child's ass. That's why so many kids in the hoods was getting whoopings with extension cords and belts because it was a practiced behavior. That's who the master was. And y'all keep putting the master story on the white guy. Ain't no fucking way. And I'm going to tell you just like this. Ain't no fucking way these guys. All right, let me just get the picture up. In the South is going to allow a white guy to beat the shit out of one person on a plantation and live. That's why I find difficulty with these made up stories that nobody can fucking prove. So now I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak whether I disagree with you or not. You got the mic.
What I wanted to say was our people have been corrupted, right? And it started a long time ago, even before the European got here. Guess who was over here? Okay, we can curse over here, right? Well, I ain't gonna say that. Okay, guess who was over here effing with us first, right? Spanish people, right? The Spanish. They were taking our people and raping them and selling them and doing all this other stuff. And when the European came, he offered to sell us like these weapons and stuff, right? So we were more allowing him to settle on the land, but then he got greedy. So I'm not saying that we weren't fighting amongst each other because it had to be some kind of order here, right? But we had this place so hooked up and tight for so long before these people got here, before it started going downhill. So I'm not going to sit up and fight for these people that made us totally go downhill. And I'm not standing here saying that we're perfect either. And I'm not, but I can't compare the two. Because if you start looking at the history, we started going down. Why did we start going down? Because of invaders, not because of ourselves. Even in our families, we fight amongst each other, but we love each other. Things happen in the family that sometimes you can't erase, but family's family. But when people ain't your family, then they start inviting everybody in to keep your ass on the bottom. And that's what you see here. Even Africans, Arabs, Asians, all of them are able to come here and stand on our backs. So I ain't gonna I can't totally be on your side with what you're saying. Like accountability, I could be on your side, but I can't compare the two and say that we're worse than they were. That's all I'm saying. So, but I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna digress. It's your show. I love you. I thank you for giving me an opportunity to come up and just speak my mind. I wish somebody else would come and join because this is a very important topic. You muted?
Um,
Okay, you good.
um, thank you for that. So again, back to the blame the white guy, everything, blame thing on the white guy. I find difficulty in that. Maybe it's because I'm from the North and I was raised in the North where there's way more opportunity here. That could be an impact too. I was raised in the North where there's more cultural families here. Like you speak about Asians, you speak about Arabs, you speak about Mexicans. In the North, hit the link, Super. You speak about when you speak about the North. I was not raised with the mentality that the South was raised with. I was raised where I can experience a life with Chinese people, with Mexican people, with Puerto Rican, with Spanish, with Cubans, with all races that are here. And the things that are said about them, I haven't experienced those experience with them. I walk in gas stations all the time because I smoke cigarettes. I get cigarettes from Arabs, from people from India, all races, and none of them mistreat me. When I walk in, they're used to seeing my smile. If I'm not smiling, they just be like, "Oh, you're not smiling today." So I have a different treatment with them. You don't. A lot of people don't understand the working conditions that they're under as Arabs and people from India. Do you know that they don't own them gas stations? That they get very small salaries. They don't get big giant salaries. Their country takes care of them. A lot of them belong to federations. A lot of them are sent here from their country to manage the gas stations here in the United States so that they can stop getting ripped off. Because prior, I remember this being a little girl in the 70s, there weren't a lot of Arabs here. There were more so white men in the gas stations when I was coming up in the 70s. White men ran the gas stations. And then there became a problem because foreigners that really owned the actual gas stations, they weren't getting all their profits and revenues from the white guys that were running them. So you're starting to see more of their own people here running the actual businesses that they opened in the United States. So I learned a lot of this from the very people that you're saying that came to replace you. A lot of our people don't want to work at those businesses that are now, minimum wages have went up. I think it's 15 to $16, something like that. A lot of our people don't want to work those jobs like in the big chain restaurants and be managers like Subway, Burger King, McDonald's, all the big chains, Dunkin' Donuts. A lot of our people don't want to work in them jobs. They don't want them. And if they get them, they only last a week, not even a month.
Hold on.
So
Tell Super to come up here. He calling me a slave and I can't back up my
come on
points
up.
that I'm talking.
Oh, well, no,
Why would I even come out of
wait,
my
wait,
mouth?
wait,
See,
wait.
I'm not one of these sheep
First,
people.
you got to let the chat say what they're going to say. That's the chat. They're going to
Tell him
speak.
to come up.
You got to, or they know that the Superman will be up. They know that the link is pinned to the top. But back to what I'm saying. A lot of our people don't want these jobs. They don't want to work in like the big chain stores, the grocery stores, at Stop and Shop. So you're seeing more people from other countries who do want those jobs. A minimum wage in the United States is a lot of money to people from third world countries. So we now are what we're seeing is a lot of our people don't want to work these jobs. A lot of our men don't want to work those jobs. A lot of our men are stuck with felonies in their backgrounds that prevents them from getting certain types of jobs. So each state is trying to, and I know this for a fact, is trying to do something to help our men and men, period, to get their records expunged so that they can get jobs.
Sister Betty, we also got
So
to say this.
Superman, he wants you to hit the link. But you got it. Go ahead. I'm gonna mute and you continue to talk, because not only
Like,
when you speak on Malcolm X or M. Lamont, they're also learning your mindset. So I just
I'm
want you to
learn my
remember that.
mindset. That's why I came up
Okay,
here.
go
And
ahead.
so what I was
So
going
go
to say,
ahead. You got the mic. You got it.
yeah, a lot of the reasons why we won't work the farming jobs. Remember that wasn't a part of our curriculum, and it wasn't passed down. The brainwashing is real. Like, I was growing the food, right? I was actually on the property trying to get people to come out to teach them how to grow food. We got so used to going to the grocery stores and stuff like that, right? So and then we had just came out of that 90s, that hustling and all that other stuff. So they were used to the fast money. We still had people going to the universities and stuff like that. But like I said, it's been a whole lot of brainwashing going on, and we've been needing to get back to our roots. And that's what this whole movement was about, like us trying to get back to our roots, right? Finding out who we were, and all this other stuff. Those crafts have been kept in these Spanish people's uh, family lines, and they weren't for ours. Mainstream school weren't. They took shop out of school. Remember all the stuff I took? I took carpentry in school. We built a house on our school property. We did the masonry part. So I took brick masonry in high school. I took the carpentry. And they also taught us home ec, where they taught us how to cook and make clothes. They started taking all this stuff out of the community, out of the teaching, right? So it wasn't nobody looking like us fighting to get that stuff back in. And it was definitely people that didn't look like us that were taking it out. So I can't stand up for just anybody, like I said, just because of the color of their skin, right? It's accountability all over the place. And then you do have like the boule. You do have the black nobility. Like, all this stuff comes into play. All skin folk ain't kin folk. So, but I ain't just taking the white man's side. That's all I'm saying about the whole thing. So I don't think that's being slave minded. I'm self-employed. I've been self-employed since 2016 or 17. But I've always had that mindset. I taught myself how to barber, right? Uh, I've cut in shops for years, 23 years, right? I built a new harbor outside of DC, and helped redesign DC electronics without an engineering degree. I worked with engineers doing that. Uh, I took culinary my last year of high school at the same time, playing football, right? Uh, so I've always kind of been like this person, use your hands. It's idle hands, the devil's workshop, right? So I've always had that mentality. So it's accountability of people learning how to do things. I've been grooming myself for a long time to be the type of person I am. Those are the skills that I have. So if people didn't get those skills, it's on them. If they out here doing bullshit, that's on them, right? But I don't think I'm a slave-minded person. I know how to do all this stuff. I don't sit back and rely on the white man or the black man for a job. Some of those things were instilled when I was into Islam. I didn't get into the Nation of Islam, but I used to listen to the positive message. I've always been the type of person to eat the fruit and spit out the seed. So self-accountability for all of us is the thing. Uh, but I ain't pointing one finger at one person. I can't do that. That's all I'm saying. So Super, come up here. Where am I slave minded, my brother?
So whose point? Okay. First, there's two questions I want to ask you, and I'm gonna let you flow with this. What is you mentioned something very interesting. You said, I don't have the white man's mindset or whatever.
I
What
said
what do you
slave
mean?
minded.
You said the white man's thought
I don't have
process
a
or something to
slave
that extent.
mindset. I said I don't
No,
have a slave.
you said something, and audience, correct me if I'm
I'm
wrong.
telling you what I
Did he
said,
not?
sister. I said
No,
I
and
don't have a
I'm
slave
happy. Wait,
mentality.
wait. Right. You did say that, but you said I don't have the white man's side thought. You said something to that. And give me a 1 if I'm telling the truth.
Actually, what I said.
You said
No,
something you don't
you
have
got the
the
truth
white
right
man's
here.
right set.
You got
Give
real
me
truth right here. I'm gonna give you the truth about what I
no,
said.
no, 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 no. I want the audience to because I don't want to state something that I heard you say and you're saying you didn't. I just want to make sure that there ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I'm sitting here talking to you. If
You
you
said
ask
that
me, I ain't gonna
you
lie.
said something about I don't want to take I'm not just going to take the white man's side.
I'm not gonna. I said I'm not gonna point the finger at just the white man or just the black man. That's what I said.
Right.
I
You
said
said that.
accountability lies on both sides,
Correct.
right? So I can't just point the finger at the black man or the white man.
Correct. Correct.
Accountability all over the place.
You said that. I agree. But you also said I can't take the white man's thought process. Something to that extent. You didn't
No,
say it
I
was
just
that
told you
words.
what I said. I don't have a slave mentality, and that's why I was talking to Super. He said in the chat that I'm a
Okay,
slave.
you said
That's what I was
all right.
talking about.
Forget super right now. You said just the white man said. You're saying you're not gonna say what just the white man said. Something to that aspect.
I'm not
You don't
gonna.
remember saying that? Somebody in the chat just
Yeah, I'm
verify.
looking at the chat right now. They can't verify.
All
I'm
right.
trying to verify what I said
Just
to you, but you don't want to accept that because I didn't slip up on what I said. I'm trying to clarify what I said. What I said is I don't have a mentality of a slave, right? I
mhm,
don't look at the white man just like he just the bad guy. I know it's the
mhm.
bad guy on both sides. We live in a
Okay.
duality. I ain't stupid.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I got white people in my family, and I got so-called
Okay.
copper
That, that
people in my
that's
family.
fine. All right. All
Black
right. So
people.
all right. So um what are your thoughts about when people say that I heard this story growing up and I'm like so tired of it that the white man put now I don't know if you grew up in the inner city or you just strictly grew up on a farm because that makes that's a big difference too.
You can
I grew
ask.
up in the inner city. So
I grew
you're
up in a
you're
city in the South. I grew up in a city in the South. And my city, right?
what city in the south did you grow up in?
Kinston. Okay.
All right.
So what I'm
Okay,
gonna
because
say
like
is
all the no, let me finish
it's
asking you
country.
the question.
Let me explain it so you
I
understand
gotta
it because
no, no, you're gonna be quiet and let me ask you the question so that you can answer it. You can't answer a question until I ask you in full detail so you know what I'm talking about. So let's start over again. I'm going to ask you a question and then I want you to answer it. Is that fair? Okay. So let me ask you this question. I grew up in the city. You said you grew up in the city. A lot of the major inner cities across the 50 states have experienced similar things. What are your thoughts when you hear, and I don't know if you heard this in the city you grew up with, but I heard it for years that the white man put guns and drugs in our community and they're the ones that destroyed our community. Can you answer that? I want your thoughts.
I just put it in the chat. You know, we gotta think. Listen. We gotta know and look at the big player too, right? Who got the
Mm.
ships? Who got the ships and the boats? I'm not saying we didn't indulge in it. I'm not saying we didn't stick our fingers in it and do some damage. We did damage, right? But when that stuff got here, it came from brothers that look like you handing it to you, right? But where did it come from before that? That's all I could say. Because I was caught up in that thing. I was caught up in the hell. I could have died through that whole time. I didn't supposed to live to be 21. So I know it wasn't brothers that were the major players, right? And we can see from all the movies who the big people are, right? So we can't forget that part. The big people made the big money, big money, and then we made the little money, and then it trickled down. That's how it goes. So, and I was gonna say, when I say a city, in the city of the South and city up north is different because I lived in Baltimore for 30 years. So a city in the South is going to be country too. So, we had the tobacco, we had the cotton, we had corn, we had all these products that uh, you know, I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but I'm just trying to say it's a difference between the city up north city and the city down south city, if that makes any sense in certain places, except Charlotte or certain other places like that. Call me a city country boy. Okay. Bethy, sister, you there?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just in the background looking for something because I just like to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so do you recall the years of when Frank Lucas was selling drugs? All right. Hold up. See, now you all right.
I didn't say
So
nothing.
you do not no. I'm just saying Frank Lucas ass was known for establishing a direct drug network from the Golden Triangle in Southeast Asia, specifically Thailand, and
Mhm.
allegedly using military planes to bring drugs in coffins, hiding heroin in coffins of dead American soldiers.
Yes,
Do
I
you
said.
recall that? Okay.
Yeah,
So
hold
what
on.
I'm saying is accountability. So no, I just want to finish. You gotta. I shut my mouth when you was talking
You should have let me
because
dive
this
into
is the
this.
shit. No. You got.
Because it's
Uh-uh.
like you're running away from
No,
what I was getting ready to say. Because
no. I'm not running away from
it's
anything.
directly attached to it. It's
No.
directly
See,
attached to it.
the problem you got is you won't be quiet. All
Baby,
right. I was quiet while you were talking. So now you got to be quiet, even though I wasn't agreeing with you. All I'm doing is proving a point.
I thought we were having a
I,
back and forth.
because we are, but you got to be quiet when I talk. I'm not going to talk when you talk. You notice I don't talk when you talk. And that's the problem with our people on panels. We don't be quiet, even though we disagree with each other. We got to let the conversation finish. Thank you for muting your mic because you raised something interesting. You said that, okay, who's the big man behind the scene that got the ships and the boats and all this shit? Okay. And around the time that we claim that our communities were destroyed is around the same years Frank Lucas ass was bringing drugs on airplanes and coffins of dead soldiers. That is not a white man. So this is why I'm saying that I can't stand our people when the first fucking thing that comes out their mouth, the white man is the leader of the pack. This dude, how the fuck he get an airplane? He went all the way to Asia. He had a fucking network and brought heroin back here, back in when the 70s, and brought it to the United States. That didn't just affect us, it affect all races of people that was doing heroin back in the 70s. Frank Lucas. So now I'm gonna mute my mic and speak on that. Don't change the subject because you just said who has
Don't
the
mute.
ability to get over with the ships and shit like that.
Don't mute.
Explain that.
Don't mute. I want to talk to you. Come back. Come back.
No.
I
I
want to see
want
your
you to
face.
go ahead. Answer the question. I'm going to
Okay,
mute
I'm
because I
good.
want you to talk.
Okay,
Address
listen.
that. Address that.
You're not talking to no average dude. I grew up 30 minutes away from where Frank Lucas is from, Lake Range, North Carolina. Right? I'm telling you, man, listen, the place that I am it was a key player in this whole United States. King George was here. Okay? That's why this place was called Kingston. Right? The first governor of North Carolina from my city. Told you I'm from a royal tribe and a Tuscarora nation. So you don't think that it was some white dudes that knew he was doing that? They were in cahoots. But you hear the story of him. He was the fall guy. You hear the story of him, but you're gonna never hear about the even the plane pilot that was white knew it was in there. or the colonel, right? You're not gonna hear that part. You're gonna hear the part about us because we always got to be the bad guy. See, I grew up in this stuff, man. You know, they wanted to catch us. They never caught the big guys. They always was looking at us. And when I got railroad before and got in trouble. Little bit of trouble one time in my life. And it was white people in that court that railroad me that didn't have no evidence on me. And try to assassinate me in prison. You get what I'm saying? When I was a little boy, because they know who I am, my bloodline. But you're never gonna hear the big part. You're gonna hear about the little guy. But who were the big guys? You're never gonna hear about them. You think that man just was putting that stuff in there and then them people didn't know? Come on, Sister Bethy. Come on now. You acting like the Nation of Islam now. You just trying to make us look bad when you say stuff like that, because it ain't just us. And that's what I keep telling you over and over again. You think it wasn't a white colonel or a white flight pilot didn't know that stuff was in them bodies? You think it was a coroner? Was he a coroner? Who was sewing it up in the bodies? That's what I'm telling y'all. Y'all need to think outside the box and stop trying to demonize each other and think about what you're talking about. You're making great points, but you're going too far. And that's all I'm saying. I've been saying that the whole time. That's why I came up here. I got love for you, but what you're doing ain't right. And I'm here to speak on it. Some of your points are good and some of them are not. I'm going to mute up again. But that's why I wanted to go back and forth with you. I didn't want you to mute up. But think about what I just said. My point, key point. You think it wasn't no coroner that knew? With no black coroner sewing that stuff up in there? Frank didn't sew it up in there. You see what I'm saying? Just tell me you agree with that part before you go on, please. Don't do me like that. Please.
I'm going to give you my answer. I'm not going to agree with you.
I said, do you agree with that part?
Look,
I said that
finish.
part.
When you finish, I'll speak.
I
That's how I
asked
run
you a
my
question.
panel.
I asked you a question before I start. Do you
No, I don't
agree
agree with you.
that it was a
No,
white
I do not.
coroner?
No, I don't.
Do you agree?
Because
Do
I
you
don't have
agree
any
that
proof.
it could have been a colonel?
No, I don't. I don't
Do
have
you
any
agree
proof. I
that it
can't
could have
say
been a
that.
white pilot that knew?
I don't know. I
I'm
can't agree.
leaving.
I
I'm
can't.
gone. I'm out.
Okay. See? He wants. All right. Now, you're going
That's
to give me
sad.
my chance to speak.
Man, I just called you out.
See, this is how powerful I am. I'm
You're
not
not
going to
powerful.
run because, okay, well, that's personal opinion. You want me to say, okay, I asked him to address Frank Lucas' ass having the ability to get on a plane, go over to Asia or wherever to get heroin. And instead of him addressing Frank Lucas' ass, oh, we got to find that white guy. You don't think the white guy? Look, I'm not talking
That's
about the
not
white
what I
guy.
said. Now you're making a mockery.
Hey, didn't you just mention that a white guy sold some shit up or whatever? You don't think that? I'm not talking about the white guy.
I said that he was the fall guy.
No. All right.
He was the fall guy. That's all I was
In
saying.
your opinion, he was the fall guy. But
Okay,
let me
so
tell you,
to your
in my
opinion, the white
opinion,
man ain't.
all right, I'm gonna put you in the back because you can't do that. I did not talk when you was talking. That's the problem. I didn't talk when you was talking. I let you speak, whether you like it or not. Is that your phone? Hello?
Sorry.
All right, now I'm gonna say this. I asked him to address Frank Lucas. All right. I don't care about the white man that was on the plane that he's pulling out. That wasn't the head man. Who was the man? Frank Lucas. He was the fall guy. I'm not justifying no niggas because he took his ass over there and he's responsible for bringing the heroin back. But you want to squeeze that white guy. Oh, he sold up the stuff in the thing. You don't think that he was there? I don't give a damn. I know Frank Lucas. I'm not justifying shit for no niggas. That's what you want me to do, and I'm not going to do it.
When you say
I'm
that.
not going to. What do you mean?
That's what's wrong.
What do you mean?
That's
No.
what's wrong.
Why? Because
So
you don't
everybody
like
has
the
something
fact.
to do with it.
Well, because I don't agree with you. I'm a nigga hater, right? Because I don't agree with you. No, that's not how it goes. I don't believe you. Okay. Frank Lucas is responsible for bringing heroin in our communities. I didn't see a white guy. I can't prove a white guy. Just because I don't think like you you're angry and I'm the angry black lady because of black people. You want me to justify why Frank was able to do what he did in our community because of a white guy, because he's the fall guy. You have no other means but to find this white guy that nobody ever fucking sees.
Okay,
All
then.
right.
How you
So
can't see
now,
that? How you can't see
all
that?
right.
He didn't throw nobody
No,
body up.
no, I can't see it. I
Frank
can't
with no
see it.
damn
You're
coroner.
look, can you all right, can you do this
Stop doing what
for
you're
me?
doing and I'll calm
Can you
back
do
down.
no,
Or I'll
no,
leave.
no, no, no. I'm not gonna. I don't care if you leave. Other people will
Okay,
come up
then
here.
stop
Baby,
bashing then.
this
That's
is
what you're
Sister
doing.
Bethy. This is the Sister Bethy talk show, baby.
And
Everybody
look,
gonna come up here.
I came up here out of
You
respect.
want
And
me,
I'm
you
not gonna
want me
let
to
you do that.
believe you. You want
You
me to
want me to
believe you.
believe
All right.
you want me to
All I'm
believe
gonna
that a
ask you to
nigga
do,
sold all that stuff up and
hold
came
up,
from flew
hold
the
up,
plane
hold
back
up,
and forth.
hold up, hold up.
Come on, man.
Lamont,
I'm
I'm
leaving you by
able.
yourself on this
No,
one.
fine. I'm not by myself.
Respectfully, I'm gonna leave.
I'm not by
I'm
myself.
not
That's
running.
fine.
I'm
I'm
gonna leave.
sorry. This
Okay.
is the problem with y'all.
Yeah, I know. Y'all
All
who?
I'm gonna ask you,
Y'all who?
I'm gonna ask
Say
you a
it.
simple question.
Y'all
My
niggas?
people, my
No,
people.
don't say y'all.
No,
Y'all who?
my
I came
people,
up here
my
respectfully.
people.
So you can't throw me under the bus like that. What I was
I'm
saying
not
to you
throwing
is
you on. Looking first, now you're talking about I'm throwing you under the bus. I'm asking you legitimate questions that you can't legitimately answer. So now I'm gonna ask you another question. Can you please tell me who the white guy that accompanied Frank Lucas on the airplane?
I'm a damn detective, right?
All
But
right.
I can see
Can you
with my
do that?
mind. But I can see with my mind.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you see with your mind?
No, I can't. I can only
You can't
visually
think out the
see.
box?
I can't.
You got
No,
tunnel
not
vision?
in that manner.
Because
Not in
you
that
let them
manner.
white
Not in
people?
that manner. See? No, he's
Rewind
here,
what you
super.
said.
You can
Rewind
come back
yourself.
up, super. He's still here. You say, oh, because I love the white man and it's making you
Yeah,
angry.
yeah. No, it
That
ain't
makes
no.
you angry.
That's not what I said.
You
I
said,
said,
because I love the white man.
right, you taking up for them.
I'm asking you about Frank
You
Lucas. I'm not
taking up
even
for them, but
asking
you
you.
won't take up for
I'm
us.
not. Wait, what have I done to take up for the white guy?
Because you won't hold them accountable also.
I did not see or hear of a
I'm
white
done.
guy in the story
I'll
with
see
Frank
you another
Lucas.
time. I'll see you another. I love you, Bethy.
Hey, look,
I'm
you
out.
mad? You look,
Y'all,
you
go ahead and say
mad?
y'all.
See,
This is what y'all
this is
do.
what I mean.
Nah, this is a good back and forth. And anybody that see this, if you leave it up, they're gonna see what I'm saying. They're gonna see the
Look,
whole thing.
no,
You're
the
exposing
audience,
yourself too.
the look.
Well, I'm looking
The
at it too.
audience.
I'm looking right here at the text.
all of them. Some of them agree with me, and some of them don't. All I'm doing, all I'm asking you, we always, as a people, throw the white guy in there, but nobody knows who the white guy is.
And somebody
I
always throw
never
the
get
nigga
to
in there.
see him. But Frank Lucas, obvious. They have the writings. He went to jail.
Yeah, who owns the media?
So we
Who
have
owns the
that.
media? They can write any picture about us. And come on now, we got media now. We can expose them.
Frank did an interview.
Oh my
I saw
God.
the interview with Frank Lucas. He did an interview. So
Respectfully.
that's
Okay.
all I have.
Okay, baby.
I want to know who the white guy is. That's all I ever ask.
I want to know
Who
the
is the white
motherfucker too.
guy?
I want to know
Who's
his
the
ass
white
too.
guy?
But I know it was one. And I ain't gonna be blind to that.
Okay, so you know it was one. You know it
I
was
ain't
a
gonna be
white guy.
blind to that because
But you
I
just don't
just
know his
told
name
you
and
why.
you never
I
seen
just
him.
told you why. I just told you why.
No, it's just, we grew up in the 70s and are always hear from the Nation of Islam. I'm telling you, it was the white guy. It was the white man. It was the white man. I hear
Everybody
this.
didn't hear it. Some
I
people
don't know.
experienced it.
Nobody
Some people
ever
you didn't never experience it.
identifies
That's
him.
all. That's the only difference. You didn't never experience.
Excuse me, my family were heroin addicts. I think I had enough
No,
experience seeing the
I was
harm
saying
done to us.
you didn't experience the harsh white people like you were saying. You grew up in Connecticut. I get it, but some people
Mhm.
did experience the harsh white people. That's all I was saying. I said that the whole time I've been here.
I agree with you, though. Did I not say in the audience that the behaviors in the South were very different from the North? See, your problem is, and I get this from a lot of our people in our community, they get angry when you don't agree with them. I can't. It's hard for me.
No, I got angry because you wouldn't think outside the box with me. I also said that I know our people do some shit, right? But you won't give the accountability to both sides. I'm doing it from both sides. You're not.
I do give the accountability from
No,
both
you didn't,
sides.
because you said I don't see no white guys doing it.
Okay. Well, I didn't. In
Okay,
my
then.
community,
That's what I just said.
I only saw people that look like me, my sons, my nephew, my family, my neighbors' kids sell drugs in our community. I never seen white men standing on our blocks selling drugs, bruh. And you can't make me think outside the box to pull one in. Now, what I did see is white people from the suburbs, women and men, come into our hoods to purchase drugs. I seen them come in from the white people come in from the suburbs into our hoods to trade guns with drug dealers in our hoods in exchange for drugs. That's what I saw.
Okay,
But I
look.
didn't see white people shooting my brothers in the head with guns. I didn't see that. I
That's all I'm
saw
saying.
my sons killing my sons in my community.
But that
And you
doesn't
want me to
mean
think outside the box.
that doesn't
If
mean they
I
wasn't
had a
doing
white
it.
man dependent
That's
on,
all I was saying. So look,
okay,
can
I'm not
this,
saying, listen, I'm not saying that it don't happen, but I don't have no fucking proof. I can prove that my son is killing my son, but I can't prove that Uncle Bucky's son from the white suburbs came in my hood and killed my next door neighbor's son when I sat there and witnessed
I
my
saw the
nephew
same.
kill
I saw the
somebody.
same
See,
stuff you saw.
but you
I
want me
lived
to
in Berry
believe like
Farm.
you believe,
I lived
and
in,
I can't
I didn't ask you to
for the life of
believe.
me.
Stop saying
All
that. I
right.
didn't ask you to believe like I believe, sister. I said I seen the same stuff, and I just told you to think outside the box, so we won't point the finger at one people because everybody's guilty. Now, I want that dude Super to turn his camera on and talk to me like a man instead of in the chat.
Okay, you're not gonna cuss on my channel though when you
I
do
didn't
start.
curse.
No, I'm telling you when you start talking. But what I'm
I'm
saying
not gonna
is,
curse.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. What I'm saying is the horrific crimes in my hoods, all right, that I visually saw and know of and know to be true, have been the sons of my next door neighbor and sons killing each other. All right. I can't, what I'm telling you is I can't blame this story on white people.
You're in the
People want
laboratory.
me, listen to me. I can't put this story of little Pookie killing little John in my community on a white guy. People keep telling me, you got to understand where he got the gun from. He got the gun from the white guy. Okay, he got the gun from a white guy. But is it the white guy's fault that he took that same gun to kill Pookie and Ray Ray?
We've been experimented on.
All right.
We're in a project.
What
It's a
I'm not going to
project
do is put
experiment.
white people in the position and being the sole cause for our fucked up behaviors in our community. That
Why
I'm not
not?
doing that. I'm not doing it. Fuck
I didn't
no.
say that. I didn't
Now
say
I'm
that.
getting ghetto like you.
I
Hell
didn't
no.
say that. So
I'm
now you're
not.
trying to make
All
me seem
right.
like I
So
said that.
now,
I didn't say that. I
didn't you
didn't
just
say
say
that.
why not? What you just said, why not?
Now,
I'm
I
not
wasn't.
doing that.
I didn't finish what
I'm
I was
not
gonna
doing
say.
that.
I
And
just cut it.
you're not
I
gonna
didn't
make me
tell
do
you to
that.
do that, and
All
that ain't
right,
what I
so
said. So
all
don't
right, so
cut this out and say that.
let's silence our mic. I want to give Superman a chance to speak
and make him cut his camera on,
and then
please.
I want Superman, cut your camera on, baby. And Smoke too. You cut your camera on.
They know who I am.
Superman always cut that.
It's real truth, real
So
growth. Turn your
I'm
camera
gonna
on, baby.
give Superman a chance to talk, and then I want Smoke to take it because Smoke gives the smoke. He don't give a damn if he's talking to me or anybody else. And I got thick skin.
I
I'm
got
ready to
respect
take
for
the
Smoke
smoke.
too.
Well, I got 12 brothers, and I know how to deal with y'all, so I can take the smoke. But go ahead.
I'm around with the Muslim dude. I'm around with the Muslim dude on this one. Y'all got to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Smoke, come on, Smoke. Turn on your camera,
turn.
Hey, hey, wait a minute. Hold on, Soup. Turn on your camera, bro. Since you called me out in the chat, bro.
I'm naked.
Y'all got it.
I'm done, bro. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Turn your camera on, sweetie pie.
No, he in the shower. See what I'm saying?
Oh, he's in it. Well, give him a minute.
I'm trying to be a mature man and have a mature conversation, and I'm trying to respect my sister at the same time. So y'all gonna leave me here like this?
I get it. I get it. We could turn our
Bro,
cameras on.
you grew up. How old are you, Sue?
Same age as you.
Okay, then turn your camera on and talk to me like a man, bro. Come on now. You called me out in the chat and I just asked you to come up and talk to me. I'm not here to fight. I'm trying to make peace wherever I go. But I'm gonna look at reality and a duality, right? I'm gonna see it from more than one side.
So give him a minute.
My viewpoint is,
man, turn your camera on before you talk, bro. That's all I ask you. If you're not gonna turn your camera on, then I'm not even gonna talk to you, because that ain't even respect.
I'm a mute up then.
Well, go ahead. See you later. Don't say nothing else about me. Keep my name out of your mouth. Hey, Smoke, send me.
Sound like he just woke up. Smoke, you got
Smoke. Hey, Smoke, come up, Smoke. Hey, he can't take care. Come on, Smoke. Come on,
look at
y'all.
Smoke.
My camera
Smoke will get in my butt. He don't care. And
my camera ain't working right now. It's got this little prohibited sign going on.
Man, you sound like those scammers over here. You sound like those scammers over here.
Mine do too. My camera don't work on this
I'm not
device.
talking to you. I ain't talking to you. You Superman.
I know you.
You can't come up, man. Man, put on your Superman outfit.
I'm gonna run and get some water. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. I'm just getting water. But I want to hear Smoke. Give me a minute. Smoke.
Sister Bethy, how the hell do I fix my camera? Why the fuck is it showing that right there? Why is it showing a line through my camera?
Oh, you got to give StreamYard access to your camera. So
I did give him access to it. I gave him access to my mic and my camera.
I don't know why Smoke's camera not coming on. Oh, it's saying. Oh, it's saying that your camera's not connected, honey.
Hey, Sister Bethy, I apologize for raising my voice at you.
I'm not worried about that. I got 12
my mother would slap the crap out of me if she heard me talking to you like that.
I got 12 brothers, and I grew up with all their shitty asses, and we all doorsteps. I'm the oldest, so I'm not worried. I got thick skin.
I'm out of 8.
They go Superman. 12 boys and 1 girl right here.
When I tried to turn my camera on, it kicked me out.
All you gotta do is hit the button, man. Stop playing, man.
All right, I'm just gonna run and get some water, you guys. I drink a lot of water. Okay,
hey,
because I drink a lot of coffee.
You need it.
Give me a minute, because I know Smoke about to get in.
You need to eat the fruit. Get the real water. The fruit is in the real water. That stuff push all your vitals out, your potassium and your salt out. You need to get the fruit. That's gonna give you real water.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to push the salt out, but y'all, I'll be right back. Y'all go ahead. Y'all got it. I'm getting some water.
Put some cloves or some ginger or some you gotta mineralize your water these days. You gotta mineralize this shit yourself.
Yes, you do. How you been, Smoke? I ain't been on your page or seen your stuff lately, man. I've been taking care of my mother. She getting older, but much respect, bro.
Yeah, these niggas still giving me hell. You know, already. I was born in it though, so I'm used to it.
What that X mean?
It's a personal thing. It ain't got nothing to do with Islam. But if you turn your camera on, I'll tell you the whole story.
Oh, my bad. I thought you was a Muslim dude. I thought the X meant you was a Muslim dude.
I might be. You turn your camera on, I could tell you.
Brother, my camera not working.
I tried to cut that mother. Let me see if it's working now.
Man, look, man. I'm gonna get y'all an iPhone for Christmas, man. Y'all tripping up here.
I'm on a computer. I don't know why this motherfucker ain't working.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's showing an X to my camera, but my audio working fine.
They let me out the home.
When I cut the camera off, this was gonna happen. My avatar gonna come back. So I don't know what's wrong with this.
Why you gotta look at somebody to talk to him?
Y'all better get my screenshot. It was just out of respect. Come on, man. Now you trying to go there.
But I can guarantee I still look the same way.
Y'all better get them screenshots. Y'all ain't gonna see nobody else this pretty.
I can guarantee I still look the same way I did the last time I cammed up, though. I ain't shit changed.
Oh, shit. I wish OG would have came over here too. Leo. Somebody could have came over here and fought for us. Bro.
For who? For you? You an ex.
I just told you something. He just trying to start something. I told you what it was
okay.
about.
So
No,
Smoke,
I'm talking about.
go ahead and justify Lamont. Let's give them two a chance to talk, because I know Smoke gonna get on me. But don't forget, y'all, Smoke love me and so do Superman. And I'm ready for it. Smoke, justify your past behavior. Go ahead. I'm ready for it. You said you agree with the Muslims, so go ahead, Smoke. Because I'm gonna tear your ass up after.
When did heroin first enter the United States?
I actually don't know.
Look it up.
I thought
Look it
okay.
up. Look
All right.
it up.
Well, you look. Why I gotta look it up?
Here.
Okay, I do know that
The first heroin here was
I
produced here.
I remember during the Vietnam War, a lot of our soldiers came back addicted to it. So that's as far back as I can remember.
So if heroin was produced here, that can only mean that at one time it had to be outsourced.
Okay, so when you say it's been produced here, do you mean in the Americas, like in Colombia and Mexico? Or do you mean right here on the mainland?
In the great old United States of America.
Okay.
And when was it outsourced?
I don't know.
It comes out of like Colombia, Mexico, places like that, right? And you can go in stores. You can go in stores. You can actually go in stores and buy it over there, right? But our first medicine over here was hemp.
China.
Remember, our first medicine over here was hemp, right? The cannabis. Remember that? So you could buy that in bottles, but they took that off the shelves, and then the pharmaceuticals took over. But go ahead.
Interesting. If hemp is being considered some type of substance or abusive substance.
No, hemp. Hey, Smoke. Hemp. Listen, hemp was our biggest product. That was our biggest product. We used to make clothes, cars, anything out of it. Medicines, build houses with hemp, everything. Right? They demonize it, and what they did to the hemp, that scientist, he spiked it, and that's what created the marijuana. Marijuana is two different things.
Wait, we jump into too many drugs.
Yeah,
y'all know I'm not. Y'all know I'm dumb on drugs. We're talking about Frank Lucas.
Let's just stay on heroin. Then.
Smoke. He don't want to take accountability for Frank Lucas' behavior.
I did.
He wants to blame it on the white guy.
No, I did, Sister Bethy. I did, and I said, yeah, Frank had a lot to do. I said he 30 miles from where I'm from. I can take you to the man property. But what I was gonna say, hold on, I'm gonna say this on fall back. Don't believe that he did that shit by himself, and don't believe nobody else that looked like somebody else.
I didn't say he did it by himself.
That's all I was saying.
Well, he was.
I placed the blame. I placed the blame.
My question.
More than one
side. Go ahead, Smoke.
My question would be: did Frank Lucas contribute? Is he the major contributing factor to the heroin market, or did he just corner a particular sector of the heroin market?
He took over the heroin market.
No, he didn't. He just cornered a particular sector.
Hold on.
Okay, it's cool. Before y'all get into y'all argument, right? If he took it over, that would mean that Frank Lucas was largely responsible for the entire heroin market at one time.
False.
Pretty much in America, yes.
No.
How do we substantiate that claim?
That's false. It was just the East Coast, man.
The amount of drugs he was pulling in and the amount of money he was making per day.
Oh my God, you can't believe that. He was pretty big on the East Coast. I'm trying to tell you, he was pretty big on the East Coast, but not no whole United States, bro.
In Frank Lucas's era, come on, Sister Betty, let's work that computer of yours. In Frank Lucas's era, how much money was heroin making annually? We'll just go annually because that should be most statistically accurate.
How much was heroin
making annually?
Okay.
I
I wouldn't put that in my computer, but go ahead.
that they want to take the genius away from
Okay.
Frank
Most credible
Lucas.
historical estimates place Frank
No,
Lucas.
we are not attempting to undermine Frank Lucas's genius by any means.
It says
I
annual
think he was
heroin
brilliant.
revenue in the Frank Lucas era. Most credible historical estimates place Frank Lucas peak annual profits, not gross revenue, at 30 to 50 million per year during the 1970s.
Okay, now ask now these specific numbers. How
Man,
much?
that boy was moving that dope.
Now ask it how much was heroin. Ask it how much was heroin making in total. How much heroin proceeds in total, not just Frank Lucas's portion, in total.
Okay, how much was heroin?
Grossing totally annually.
Wait a minute.
The heroin market. The heroin
Okay,
market. Period.
how much was heroin market making in total? Right,
Right.
in the United States. Could I just put
Yes.
that?
Yes. Yes, the United States.
This is gonna shock the world.
And what in what year? In the 1970s?
Yeah, would that be Frank Lucas's era?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, somebody got to turn that down, or somebody get a
Oh, my
uh,
bad, my bad.
yeah.
It's on back there.
It says the U.S. heroin market in the 1970s was generating roughly 1.3 billion per year.
Good God in the morning. Now, who got the majority of that now? That's no one. You see what I'm saying? It was big players out here. We just the little fish in the pond, baby. Don't ever
Okay,
forget
so
that, baby.
well, you know, it was more gangs back then. We had the mafia. I was just speaking about our community. When
No,
you
we were
want to
talking about
keep
Frank.
bragging, no, I'm speaking about the people. And see, this is the point where you mess up at. I was only speaking about in our personal community. I'm not speaking about the whole United States. Frank Lucas in our community. Now, I already know that during that time we had the cartels, we had the Jewish mafia, we had the Italian mafia, we had the French mafia, we had all that. I agree. I would never say that it's not, but my focus is our community. Why can't we focus on our community and not drag the white guy in? You keep dragging in the white guy into our community, and he's not fucking there. And then you tell me to think outside the box. I can't think outside the box of people I don't see. I know that a Jewish and the Godfather and the five families, I know they exist, but they're not from our community.
Look,
So
think like this.
I'm talking
Yeah,
Think
but
like
about
they
this.
was
Let
so
me
working
say
for
this.
Frank Lucas.
But let me say this.
The
Let me say this.
Italian mob worked for Frank Lucas,
Bro,
according
let
to
me
the.
say this, man. Let me say this. You got to think about all the cops, the sheriffs, all them people that worked in law system that knew and were allowing this stuff to go on because they know everything that's going on. If you don't know, the feds always put in every community somebody that know who got the guns, the marijuana, the drugs, the knives. It's always who's doing this and that. They always got somebody in the community that look like you and they know what's going on. So nothing's done without it being allowed. So okay, Frank Lucas got a peanut, but that man got a peanut farm. That's all I was saying. And we got to know that within ourselves. And it's terrible that Frank did what he did. You are absolutely 1000% right. That's all I was saying.
But it was an all-black network, politically speaking. He went down south to get his brothers to help him run his heroin business. His cousin was his contact in Vietnam.
And the
Where's this
KKK
white
went and got
boy?
his brothers, sisters, cousins, and uncles, and everybody else
Where's
to run
this
their
white
So what are you
boy in
saying?
the network? Because he was selling dope to the mob. The
Right.
mob worked for him. They had a
So,
bigger network. He had to
and I'm not
supply.
going back and forth with
He's
you.
the
I forgot
plug.
why.
See, that's the problem. Here's the big problem that I always find, and I have such a hard time with our people. I will not sit up on this live segment and say that there are not white gangsters, white cartels, white mafias, and I know about those in the 70s. But I can't focus on other races of people's drug issues. I'm talking about our community. And then what really gets me is when I ask a question that pertains strictly to our community, you have these people like Lamont. But wait a minute. What about the white guy? Look, I don't care about the white guy at this point. I'm talking about the harm that our people did in our community. Where's the accountability? I can't get a straight up answer. I always got to get, the white guy was the head of that. All right. You talk about this white guy, and I've been hearing about this white guy since the damn 70s from when I was little. That was always an excuse. It was the white man. I heard it from the Muslims. I hear it from every fucking body. But nobody has an identity to this white guy. He's like a fucking AI at this point. They don't want. It's like we just don't want to take full accountability for our behaviors of why our communities turned out the way they did. I don't care if Frank Lucas went and met a white guy over in China and got the heroin. The son of a bitch came to our community and sold it. That's
But he
my
wasn't the
concern.
only one. That's all I was
I
saying.
don't
It hurt our
care. I'm
community
talking
because
about Frank
he
Lucas.
wasn't the only one bringing stuff into the community that hurt the community. So I can't say that they destroyed the whole
Okay,
community.
so all I'm saying is,
That's all
where's
I
the
said.
white guys that you're talking about that have went to jail for coming in our hoods, selling guns, okay, and
They got a
heroin?
pass.
Where
They got
are
a
they?
pass. They got a
They
pass
got.
because they're part of
You
a
know
network.
them. You know them
They're
that
part of a
they got a pass.
network.
Okay,
They
who
will
are
get
they?
in trouble for something
You,
and they'll get off. Listen, they
so
will
they're
get in trouble for
invisible.
something. They'll throw the book
Do
at
you
us,
have any
but they'll
names?
get off.
Do you have any
Man,
names?
I'm just telling you the
Yeah.
facts. That's the facts. That's the
Okay.
truth.
Do you have any names?
They'll do something. They'll get off.
Do you have any names?
Redlining. Look up
All right.
redlining.
Bye. I'm done. I'm done. I
Houses
just
and
muted
everything
your
else.
mic.
Done.
No,
He
I
done.
muted
That's
your
why he
mic.
want to talk
You
about
can't-
redlining.
Right.
And you shut
You
up.
won't give
You
no.
won't bring
You
your
won't
camera
give
up.
no
Tell him to
fucking
talk.
name. It's this mysterious fucking white guy that I've been hearing about since the 70s. And every time y'all niggas come on the panel, you want to justify.
I didn't call you
You
out of your
wanna-
name. Don't call me no nigga.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm speaking
See?
in our Indian language.
No,
And
well,
I'm
can I
telling you,
speak in my
look,
Indian
I'm not
language
gonna
and call
argue.
you outside your
Yes,
name?
yes, you can. You actually can.
I'm not gonna do
And
that.
this way.
Respectfully.
All right. Well, then don't do it. So I'm telling you, you're mad because you can't justify. When you can't justify, don't get mad.
I agree with you that he
all
was
right?
bad. I agreed. You the one want.
All right,
You the
all
one
right, all
want to
right.
meet me
So
halfway.
when we talk about
That's
our
the problem.
community, when we talk about our community, do we have to bring in the white guy? Or
Yes.
because I choose
Yep.
not to bring in the
Because
white
Everybody's
guy?
accountable.
All right.
we bring up
Give
the
me
white
Who
guy.
gets one?
Bring
Who
me the
gets
white
one?
guy.
We bring up the white guy when we talk about our community because he has implemented himself into that very scenario. Think I'm lying? Boy, ask this question right here. And go to your computer and ask your computer a simple question. Answer this. Have white people had an impact on the black community? That's a very simple question, right? That's a very bland question. Just ask the computer, have white people had an impact on the black community? Answer that question.
Have white people had an impact on the black community? Whether it's negative, what part do you want me to put in a negative?
No, just ask it. Just ask it that question. You ain't got to.
Okay.
You ain't got to suggest negative or positive.
Okay.
Just ask it.
All right. So it's saying absolutely, and the honest answer is yes. White people had a major impact on black communities in the United States, but the key is understanding how, why, and in what ways without turning it into blame or hostility. You are asking a historical question, and history was very clear, has very clear patterns. Let me put this over here so I can read it better. It says, here's a grounded, balanced breakdown that stays factual and still peaks to the truth. Yes, white Americans and white controlled institutions had a profound impact on Black communities. The impact came through systems, laws, and policies, not individual everyday people. The effects were structural, long term, and deeply shaping. Below are the major areas where that impact is historically documented. Laws
Okay,
and government policies.
we don't need the whole article.
I just said
We don't
all
need the
that.
whole article.
That's all I was saying.
Now ask it, has the Black
Shut up.
have a impact on the white community? Just flip the words around.
Man, why? That's not what we were talking about. We were talking about our community. And everything I was saying it was systematic. I said all of that, man. I listen, I speak for everyone.
Okay, but I'm looking. It's not. Let me see. I'll just read the numbers. It's saying one, laws and government policies. Two, economic impact, social and cultural impact, identity and classification, religion and ideology. But here's the other truth: Black communities transform everything they touched. Bottom line, white people, specifically white controlled systems, absolutely shaped Black communities. So I was hoping for something more in the negative manner of their impact on our community, like drugs. But Superman told me to ask, do Black people ask the same question for Black people? And that's only fair. So I'll ask the
Yeah,
same
just ask
question.
it, have Black people had an impact on white communities or the white community?
Yeah,
Just
reverse it. Totally.
yeah.
Because
Okay.
if you ask for our community, you got to ask for their community. And they're going to say, oh,
But
yeah.
you
Now,
just said why. You just said why.
so don't ask if Black people had an impact on Black community.
Right.
Asking if
No,
Black people had impact on white
impact on
community.
white community. Yeah.
Okay.
They can say, yeah, they go through and steal their lawn stuff and
It says
steal their.
absolutely. It says absolutely. And the answer is yes. Black people have had a profound, undeniable impact on white communities and on the United States as a whole, not through domination or control, but through culture, innovation, labor, creativity, and transformation. This is one of those truths that often gets overlooked because history books rarely frame it this way. Here's a grounded, balanced breakdown that keeps the focus on influence, not hostility.
We don't need
Cultural
all of
influence. Well, I want it because I read the other one. It's only fair. One, cultural influence, social and political influence, economic impact, innovative innovation and creativity, spiritual and emotional influence, moral and ethnical influence, identity influence. Bottom line, Black people have had a massive positive and transformative impact on white communities, culturally, politically, economically, spiritually, and socially.
So please
Now
stop
ask it this.
the hating.
Now ask it this. Did the white power structure have any significant role in the drug crisis of the Black community?
That's another good one, Smoke. And see, that's why I was telling her don't say it the way she was saying it, because even when you look it up, it's going to show you
Okay.
we had our problems, but we're
Did the
good
white
people.
wait a minute, I wrote it wrong. Damn. Wait a minute. I wrote it wrong. My bad. Okay. Paste. Did the white people
Give me a second, y'all. I'll be back.
you said did the white people structure have any significant role on the drug crisis of the black community, right? Is that right, Smoke?
That's what he said. He'll be right back. That's
That
what he
was
said.
super. Be right back.
Oh, Smoke. That's what Smoke said.
Okay. So let me see. I gotta hit the return. It's still doing it. Okay. Here it is. You're asking her historical question, Sister Bethy, not an emotional one. Okay, it says, yes, white controlled institutions and policies played a major role in shaping the drug crisis that devastated black communities. Not because white people as individuals caused it, but because the systems that governed housing, policing, economics, and foreign policy were overwhelmingly controlled by white leadership throughout the 20th century. That's the 1900s. Those systems created the conditions in which the drug crisis exploded. Housing, and number one, housing and urban policy created the conditions. Policing strategies targeted black neighborhoods. Federal foreign policy played a documented role. Economic neglect made illegal economies attractive. 5, media framing was racialized. 6, sentencing laws hit black communities hardest. The truth balanced. This is not about blaming white people as individuals. It's about recognizing how white controlled systems shaped the environment in which the drug crisis unfolded.
I'm doing the shimmy right now because that's all I've been saying. I'm doing the shimmy right now. That's all I've been saying. I ain't playing.
Okay.
That's all I've been saying.
So I'm reading this, and I'm reading this directly from just Googling it, like he said. So I read that. Okay. Next question.
I think Smoke taking a smoke break or something because he's not up.
Okay. So, like I said again, and I'm going to take this back again. Oh, go ahead, Smoke. I
No,
read it, Smoke.
somebody knocked on my door.
Okay, I read it,
This is
Smoke.
all I'm saying. This is all I'm saying. I remain neutral on this particular subject. My opinion is that even if white folks ain't got nothing to do with the black community, right? Even if they don't, if we find out that they have absolutely nothing to do with it, we do see that they are actively attempting to assert themselves in our motherfucking business, right? Even if they don't. What we're saying is we are noticing that at least they are attempting to wiggle their fucking noses into our shit, and they always have been. And I think with that attempt, they are also guilty as a motherfucking charge. So no, they ass not exempt. Niggas ain't exempt. They ain't exempt. I relinquish the flow.
It's like let me say this. It's like, they seeing us get slaughtered, right? And they just ignore it and just keep living their lives. They ain't got nothing to do with it. But they know systematically the system that they run is doing it. That's terrible. That is terrible. That's all I've been saying, sister. So respectfully, I'm sorry for raising my voice at you. I got a lot of respect for
Oh,
you.
yeah,
I
because you
love
know I
you.
can raise mine. I can
I
raise
love
mine
you.
back.
I love you.
I'm
You're
still
my
gonna say what
girl.
I said, regardless of you or Smoke ass like it. I'm
No,
gonna say this again,
we
and
read the facts.
I'm gonna say I never said that white people don't have an impact on those particular things that I just read off. What I wanted to focus on was strictly our community when it comes to the gang violence and the killings and the drugs. All right.
Because it's done
You
systematically, and
want
that's how we're
me?
able to do it.
You're not gonna. You're gonna be quiet, and then I'm gonna let you speak. That's
Okay.
bad, yo. Nobody's. People gotta hear what I say, and then they gotta hear what you say, and then they can agree to disagree. All I ever want to have is conversations and about the our lack of accountability. All right. I why our communities can't pick their feet up off the ground. And every time I try to have this conversation about the horrifying killings in our communities across the 50 states, there's always somebody that wants to include a white guy. When I know, in fact, that Pookie killed little Ray Ray, somebody always want to insert a white guy. They don't want accountability. And that's been happening so much in our community since I was a young woman in my 20s back in 1990, where I fled. And every time I bring this conversation up, well, what about the white neighborhoods? Look, I don't care about the white neighborhoods right now. I'm only want to focus on our neighborhoods. And yet, y'all still want to drag in the white guy. No, let's talk about Pookie's shooting ass, Ray Ray's shooting ass, Pookie's drug selling ass in our community. Why do I have to drag in the white guy when I ask you? No.
Let her get it off, man. Just let her
no.
get it off. You will be able to rebut it. Let her get it off.
Thank you. Let's just say you're Pookie, Lamont. Smoke is Pookie, and Superman is Pookie. We're having this conversation. You done went out there and shot up Lil Man and all his boys on the block because they were selling drugs on an area that you occupy. And you kept telling them to get off your block. Don't let me find you out here Saturday morning or Sunday evening, as I'm going to bust your ass, right? And then you ride by and you see his ass out there. So you go back and you plan, we're going to get them niggas tonight. And then you go and shoot up the whole block. They're all dead, right? We're having this conversation. Damn, why Pookie went over there and killed them? They're between the ages of 18 and 25. Why can't I conversate with you about that? Are you gonna gonna bring in the white guy? Well, the white guy is where he got the gun from. Are you gonna say that, or are you just gonna take accountability for shooting him up? You got it.
I'm gonna say this. First of all, I'm gonna get on Super ass. The reason I'm gonna get Super off my block, because you see how he coming up here. He don't want to show his face. He don't want to go by the rules. Little sneaky guys like that, they always get hurt in the hood. Now, let me go to my second topic. My second topic is all of this stuff keeps being recreated and being able to be done because it's systematic. It's bigger than all of us. So it's gonna happen, especially when you're targeted. And that's all I was saying. You got to look at that. You will never get your answer if you don't look at the bigger picture first. It's micro, macro, right? Like I said again, I'm gonna get Super out of there because he's a funny one of them funny dudes, right? And then, but I'm gonna look at the system, and that's why the whole thing is able to go down. That's why we even able to go out there and do all that stuff. But go ahead. Yeah,
So
Mike.
again, in order to get get accountability from Pookie going up shooting these 18 to 25-year-old dudes on the block for selling crack in their territory, I have to look at the bigger picture of why Pookie did that shit in order for him to take accountability. Even though he went out there and shot them up and killed them, there's a bigger picture to look at before I can say, yeah, it's all Pookie's fault that these kids are dead. Is that what you're telling me?
I broke it down. Micro, macro. Now, let's do micro. Micro would be like me going out and effing Superman up because, that's inside beef, right? We already all wrong. But now it's more wrong going inside the hood. Like, everybody got their little fights and stuff, man. Why? Because people be acting funny, sneaky, setting you up, do all kinds of little stupid stuff. That's the inside stuff. That's the little peanut stuff. But what I was saying on a big shell, on why all of us are doing it, because it's systematic, is being pushed in there, right? It's being allowed. And it's an agenda behind all of it, right? And everybody knows it was an agenda for us to wipe each other out, to get on crack. It's an epidemic. it was pushed on us. That's all. I keep saying the same thing over and over. But if you don't look at all the little pieces that go along with it, why Pookie and Ray Ray shooting each other, right? Those are the small potatoes, but that's in-house fighting. People be acting funny, doing little sneaky stuff, right? Going behind each other back, snitching, doing all kinds of stuff, right? Stealing, right? That's the little stuff. But the big stuff is all our ass belongs to somebody that's a bigger player that's pushing this on us. And that's how it's all been able to be played out. We're in this movie.
Anybody ever
that's
take
your
the time
reason.
out?
So that's your
Anybody?
reason. Hey, Smoke, hold on. Let me just ask this. So that's your response as to why yesterday Pookie went out and killed 5 dudes on the block. That's your answer. Okay, thank you for your answer. You got it,
Well, I
Smoke.
mean, what I'm saying, what did you think?
Anybody?
No, I got your answer. Thanks.
No, you
Anybody?
didn't.
Go ahead, Smoke.
Anybody ever take the time out to ask why Pookie and Ray Ray? Ask them why they out here pushing this product in the first place?
Speak on it, bro.
No, I would like to ask that question next. If you could answer the question for me as to why Pookie went out and killed 5 guys from the ages 25 to 18 to 25 on the block, because it was a block that he occupied selling his crack, and he told them not to be there, and they stayed there anyway. So Pookie went and killed all of them, so now they can never be there again. Is there any accountability for that, or do I have to look at the big picture as to why he did that before I could say, okay, before Pookie can take accountability? Can you please answer that question, Smoke?
Yeah, I think it's self-explanatory. It's economic based, and if somebody's moving in on your business, then you gonna automatically take offense, especially if it's cutting into your finances. So you're trying to figure out, you know, who are these individuals and why are they cutting me? Why are they cutting my you know, route off? So you be inquisitive. So you go approach them. Hey, yeah, y'all cutting my route off, man. This is already an established market right here. Y'all got to find y'all own territory to engage in y'all own business. Just right. If Burger King started selling Whoppers in McDonald's, you think McDonald's ain't gonna have a damn problem about that? Well, I think they would have a problem if Burger King moved in and started selling Whoppers and putting Whoppers on their damn menu. I think they would have a problem with that, especially if McDonald's not getting a cut off them damn Whoppers. You see what I'm saying? It's just business. Business gone wrong, but it's still business at the end of the day.
Okay. Super, you got an answer? He must have stepped away. Okay. Smoke, I would like to ask your question that you just had. Why is Pookie and Ray Ray and Little Man selling crack and what's the other latest drug? I'm not good with drugs. Fentanyl. And why are they selling that in our community when they know it damages our community? You got it.
I think that's a very intricate question. Probably deserves an intricate answer. And I don't know how intricate I could be in my reply. But we still talking finances. Yes or no? No matter what the industry is, it's still going to be financially based, right? Based off the needs of the people who are actively participating in said industry. That goes for those who are meeting the supply and those who are making the demand. And unfortunately, everything that is being demanded in the good old US of A has a supplier. No matter what it is. no matter how it's labeled or how it's looked upon, whether it's frowned upon or smiled upon, if there is a demand, that demand will be met with the subsequent supply. So I guess one would have to ask, why is there a demand for the things that Pookie and Ray Ray are supplying?
Do you think that demand is because those specific drugs were introduced in the community to our weak men and weak women who try the substance out and they become addicted to it because it was introduced by Pookie and Ray Ray? They say, here, try this. And now it becomes a big sale. Meanwhile, it's destroying a family. A lot of things happen in our community from drugs like crack, heroin, fentanyl. Do you think that we're the problem for our own issues in our community by selling that to our people?
I wouldn't be so naive as to say I don't think drugs is a problem by any means whatsoever. I'm just not so sure if we are the guilty party for its introduction into the community. Our participation in it, yeah, that is our problem. Because anybody can say yes, anybody can say no. But as far as it being introduced, I don't know. I don't know who's the responsible party for that. I don't think nobody's actually raising their hands to say it was me.
Furthermore, can I say this, Smoke? Look at all the stuff that's being put in our food. That's drug chemicals. Look at what was just pushed on the whole world, right? I mean, who's doing that? It ain't just us, and that's damaging us. You got sterilization in these young children. You got coagulation of the blood clotting, people dying from this stuff, right? They put us all on house arrest. So you got to look at this major player, and that's where it all starts from this major player. If they weren't doing all this big, wrong, crazy stuff, I mean, you can't even go to the grocery store and get a food that's you think is real no more. Like, you think we did that shit? That's why I keep telling you, look at the bigger part. We have a part that we play. We're all victims, but we all should have better sense than to do certain stuff, of course, right? But you look at all that. Who's pushing all the chemicals in the food, drugs? Who's pushing these big pharmaceutical companies? Not us. Who's making
All
all these
right, I got to
drugs?
roll. I'll see y'all a little later.
All right, Smoke.
All right, Smoke.
Who's making all these jails? They know they're gonna get us locked up. It's just like our music, right? Who runs the music industry, and what were they doing to get us pushed into the jails, right? Putting all that stuff in the music wouldn't let people make the good music. It's a bigger power over this. It's the bigger evil over the little evil. So we're only pointing to the little evil, but the little evil should have better sense also. So you got to look at it like that. I don't agree with none of that stuff that be going on. I'm not a street guy, right? I used to hang out, but I'm not a street guy. I study, pay attention to things, but if I'm a point a finger, I'm a point a finger at everyone, but I'm gonna also pay attention to who the major player is. And that's why when you look that stuff up, it said the majority, the major came from them, not us. So
Okay.
that land right there.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to say this. I have to disagree with you and Smoke. I think that the problem is we have a hard time taking accountability for the
I,
actions that take place in our community. We
I
have a
just did
hard
it.
time taking um I feel that some of the responses or feedback that you and Smoke gave are not very good justifications.
You just looked it
Or
up.
yeah, I
I,
did look it up.
yeah, and I
I
agreed. I did
yeah,
take
no.
accountability.
What I looked up didn't say that they that the okay. maybe the policies and all the housing and all of that. But I'm saying that at what point could we have said, no, I'm not going to do this? At what point could have Pookie said, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to go over there and kill them kids or kill them little dudes. But yet, instead of saying something like that, I mean, did Pookie have a choice and to say, nah, I'm not going to go and take these kids' life?
I
But
mean,
he did. And instead of hearing accountability from y'all, I hear, oh, it's economic. It's did no. I think that kind of stuff makes me weak and make me want to cry, because now this is bad, man.
it's
We
psychological. But listen, have you ever heard of chemical warfare?
this is real bad.
You ever
No,
heard of
I'm
psychological
focusing
warfare?
on I'm focusing on the behavior in our community by Pookie, Ray Ray, and Little Man. The bad behavior. I don't want to
Mental
keep
health.
jumping over to medical factories and stuff.
Mental health
I,
is,
I,
is,
I
is a real issue. Mental health
okay.
is a real issue in our community. You
So
know that.
Pookie and them are schizophrenic and
I mean, come on, man. We
with
don't get therapy for
depression.
the stuff that we don't get therapy for the stuff that we go through. It's a lot of sick people in this world, and you know that to be true
Of
also.
course, I
That's
know that
all.
to be true, but I just feel like I don't know. I just feel out that it's just a bunch of, I don't know any
That's
other
not a
way to
cop
say
out.
it.
That's real. You can't
I
say mental health ain't real. Listen, I'm
me,
a
I'm
I'm
not
a I'm
talking
a
about mental
so-called
health right
listen,
now.
I'm a so-called black man,
I'm
right?
not talking about mental health right now.
You have
I'm
to.
talking, all right. I'm talking about the accountability and the choice that Pookie has before he goes and blows his homeboy's son's head off. I'm tired of the poor excuses that are being used. It's like nobody wants to take accountability. And it's like we want to drag the white guy in for what Pookie did. Pookie went and blew the heads off of 3 guys off the block. But instead of saying, you know what, Pookie was wrong, he shouldn't have did that. This is why our community is the way it is because of shit like that he's doing. But yet I get an answer. Well, you got to look at the real big picture of why he did that. No, fuck that. That sounds really crazy to me, and it's not registering in my head, is what I'm saying, Lamont. I get all these outrageous answers, and I can't get the right answers. I got to see who you are before I let you on the piano, artful D art. So you got to turn your camera on. I just want to understand why we can't just get like a real accountable reason. And like if I just ask you right now, Lamont, M. Lamont, and say, hey, M. Lamont, why is it that um our daughter Betty Ann keeps supporting her son's drug selling issues? Her house gets raided, and rather than allow her sons to go to jail, she stands up and take the fault for saying, well, the drugs are in my house, they're mine, to save her sons who are going to continue to sell drugs. And instead of responding to that, not you, but they'll jump to, well, what about what's going on in the white communities? Those are the answers I get. Instead of just sticking to why Betty did what she did. If I say why Betty did A, B, and C, the answer that comes, well, have you checked to see what's going on in the white communities? Where does that come from? At this point, I don't care what's going on in the white communities. I'm worried about what's going on in our community. Never answer. You always talking about our community, but you don't talk about the white communities that sell drugs. Okay, the white communities are selling drugs to the white people, but the white communities are doing programs to help the individuals in their communities and to stop this. I just want answers from our community. It always have to be a comparison to the white community when I'm just focusing on our community.
There's some sick puppies out there. You know the answer to that. There's some sick puppies out here, baby. I've had to live around sick people. I haven't done the stuff like they do, right?
I'm not blaming this on you. I'm just
Yeah.
asking general questions.
In general. Okay. So like I was saying, one time I lived in Washington, D.C. I was 20 years old. I worked at the State Department, right? It wasn't a state official job, but I worked at the State Department. But I had to go to Berry Farms to see my sister. And all that ignorant stuff that was going on out there, I wasn't joining that. I mean, they look like me, but they not me. And I've always got accused for maybe being that type of person out there. But there's some sick people out here, and they're going to do what they want to do. And they're not going to stop. And a lot of them never get help. And a lot of them don't even know they have problems. And you talking about these women, how they raise their children, man, the result of them crack babies, something wrong with some of them people. I ain't saying all of them, but it's issues. It's deep rooted issues, and it goes back, man. You just gotta pay attention. So yeah, people need to be accountable for their actions. 100%.
All right, Superman, you got something you want to say before I let Art go?
No, let him talk. I mean, I've been listening to this slave mind for a while.
Okay, so Art Depot, welcome to the panel. You gotta unmute your mic.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome and peace and abundance to everyone. So I do agree with what you say, Sister Bethy. You do have some valid points, but it does start with mental health. See, Pookie is not gonna shoot up Ray Ray's block or whatever location he's at if his mental health is up to par. That does stir from mental health. So it's a large, that's why he kept saying like a lot of the stuff like is behind the scenes that we have no control over. Like no one's talking to Pookie about that type of stuff. You know, he's just thinking territory and respect and all of that stuff. And that's what follows our culture and that's what follows our men.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So a lot of the Pookies that I know are very educated men, very intelligent. A lot of Pookies I know are college educated. All the Pookies that are on the block are not uneducated men. As a matter of fact, they're very educated and accounting. So
Frank Lucas had a over 200 IQ.
And doctors
wow.
are crazy. Doctors are
And
crazy. They
so
psychotic. Some of them.
because even though he has all these really great credentials, all right, and his choice to sell weed and kill the next brother if he comes on his territory, that means he has a mental health disorder, or because he rather sell drugs than open up his own, let's say, own business that does income taxes, and he's well qualified to open a business to where he prepares taxes and be an accountant. He has these credentials. So are we going to say that because he chose to sell drugs in the community and shoot up people if they come on his turf, that he needs mental health counseling?
Some people are just trying to be slick. You know that. Some people try to be slick, try to get over on the system, and they'll do whatever by any means necessary. Some people do it in a good way by any means necessary. Some people do it in a bad way. It goes right back.
I guess what I'm doing here is trying to create empathy because I'm having a real hard time at this point.
You can't. You got to look at it like that. It's some sick people out here, and I don't care if they educated, and I don't care if they dumb. Right? I know a guy got a 6th grade education. Man, that dude can't read or nothing, but he's smart with money and he's smart with being conniving and all this other stuff, right? And that's what he do. I know a guy that's educated and he do what he do also, right? It just depends on the individual, where their soul is, you know. I mean, it's just some people out here that's sick. I keep saying the same thing over and over. You're gonna have some people that's gonna take accountability and some that's not. You know, you got to look at it from both ways, and in order to see it clearly, like open both of your eyes. Now, in this case, we got 3 eyes. Open your 3rd eye. You'll see the whole picture. You won't have to ask none of them questions no more.
Okay, so
go ahead.
All right, so the next biggest issue I have is our people raise hell because the borders are opening up, letting other people come in and work in the jobs that our people refuse to take. But yet our people are still angry about it. Do you think that's fair or do you think it's unfair?
I look at that like this. It wasn't just because they came over and got the jobs. It was like remember they were getting all that money with them cards, and then these same people, their ancestors go back further than away, man. They spit in your face like you ain't nobody. They want to be accepted as white. Then they turn around, they vote for Trump, right? And then look what happened to them. You see, they come over here try to act funny. Some of them, not all of them. You can't put everybody in a bunch. But I remember even before that election took place, the women were mad at the men for voting for Trump. And the men were going against the women, telling them to shut up. Right? So people do what they want to do and they pay for what they do. Right? But it wasn't just about being mad because the borders was open. Yeah, I mean you was just hearing all them stories, the free housing, all that money they were getting on the food cards. They ain't put nothing into Social Security. Right? And then you want to spit in our face. A lot of times you go in them restaurants, it's a good possibility that they're gonna talk about you, call you names, and spit in your food too. That's just the reality of it. And
Okay, okay. Not to be funny, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. That sounds like bullshit. That's a bullshit response. Wow. So I'm gonna say this. I feel that's a bullshit response. Oh, go ahead, Super. You got it. I can wait.
I wanna ask both of these brothers, how much responsibility of the condition that your people are in, I'm using quotes, is theirs? How much accountability?
As much as they do wrong, right? They know what they do. I can't put a number or percentage on it, but because everybody in our community ain't bad, but the ones that do wrong, they know they doing wrong.
No. Percentage of the condition that your people are in. How much accountability are you gonna take for the conditions that your people are in? Percentage.
We definitely have to take a percentage of accountability because we allow the conditions to worsen.
Give me a number.
No, I'm not for a number. Listen, I'm not taking no percentage of the accountability for our people doing wrong because I don't get out here and do wrong. I'm gonna take the
conditions, not wrong or right, but conditions
that's up to the individuals. I mean, nobody's really coming together to change the condition of the people. Are you?
Where is that? Well, come on, X. Give me an answer.
Each one teach one. I mean, go ahead. So I'll fall back on this.
It's like this, right? Your father is only going to show you what his father taught him if you're raised by him. Your mother is only going to show, her mother is only going to show her what her mother has shown her. If she's
I'm
raised,
looking for a number, you guys. I'm
it,
looking
It's
it's,
for a
percentage.
percentage. Give me a number.
I'll give about, if I could, I'll give about 20%.
I'll give my number. I personally take 100% of accountability of the conditions in our community. 100% accountability. And why I say 100%? Because I haven't developed anything to help change the atmosphere and lifestyles that our people um, have lived by. I take 100% responsibility, and I refuse to blame it on anybody else, because prior to all of this, we did have control over our communities, and we lost control by so many ways, by indulging in those behaviors, becoming supporters of those behaviors, turning our back on those particular behaviors. So I have to say that I take 100% accountability.
I as well. But
But I can't punish myself for the rest of my life for it, because there are just conditions that we can't change, and we're not allowed to change, because with the resolutions that we have, th- um the people in our community don't want to deal with those type of resolutions. um they've been in this system of negative behavior for so long, and out of those negative behaviors, we've had people in our community that made millions off of selling drugs, millions off of killing someone else to prevent them from making millions off of the same drugs that are sold in our communities. That if you, when you try to create a program where, okay, we create a program where you'll be able to take up a trade and become your own entrepreneur. And that could be, let's say you enjoy plumbing, and we say, all right, we started a nonprofit program where we will pay for you to take up a plumbing, you know, program to be a licensed plumber. And I get looks like, I'm not doing that. I make $10,000 a day just sitting here. So it's become so difficult to help our people in that manner. And I've tried to help people establish their own business. I went all the way to the level of bringing them into Zoom and teaching them how to go on the IRS site to get their EIN numbers, and then finding out which state they want to incorporate in to get these articles of incorporation. I went through all of that. And then I said, okay, now all you have to do is go create business cards, and you could pay for that yourself. $100 to get, a bunch of business cards so you can start marketing. They felt that was too much work. Nope, they rather go back to the block. So that hurts. And I can't spend the rest of my life trying to get people to do that. It's draining. When you begin to drain yourself and you forget about your own self, and then That's why I find difficulty with someone on YouTube that says, let's create our own government, who's had a horrible past living in United States system as it is. You know, my idea of living in United States system has always been grow up, go to school, get your high school diploma, take up a trade, or go to college and get a job and become competitive. That's all I ever known to keep myself from indulging in the negative, what we call negative behaviors. So that's why I have a hard time with someone who says, man, fuck this system. Let's create our own government. And we could do that. It's hard for somebody like me to do that because I know I raised my daughter on the same system and I haven't had the same encounters as someone who has lived an opposite life of me, but wants to start a new government. I'm petrified because I know what that person's capable of doing. You know, I can't imagine being under a government with somebody who has a background to automatically just like take you out in a minute. I'm petrified of that. So this is where the line draws between me and trying to come together with people in our community.
Hey, you know what? We're just as petrified too. I was just thinking, like, if okay, we're supposed to be asking for our land back, getting our land back. Man, the minds of the people ain't ready for it. And how this gonna look if we do get our land back and these people ain't ready? They doing all this stuff out here, killing each other. I was just thinking all this. I've been thinking this a long time, right? You know, in this world, you can be professional. Uh, you know, um, you can be a professional black man, right? And you can turn your eye away from what's really happening. But I see both sides of it, right? But it's terrifying to think that, say, if we did get our reparations, like, how the people gonna act, right? That's gonna give people more ammo to be more crazy, to do more crazy things. It's just gonna be, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can get the reparations and move past and go forward. Everybody's still gonna have to live their life anyway. But I get what you're saying. But it's gonna take some mental health, regardless, with or without reparations, or with or without starting a new tribe. It's gonna take some mental health. It's scary. You're right. You're 100% right about that.
It's very scary. So I could say, oh God, no, he's going to be our mayor. This guy, oh hell no. And then you get to the point, you have part of the community saying, we're going to get our land back. I know the capabilities of my country, United States, in the militia. My family lost their farm back in 1928. I pulled the records. They didn't pay their taxes. So, yes, there is a saying that Indians not taxed and we weren't supposed to be taxed. We were fraudulently taxed as a people and they lost their land. It's 2026. I am too drained. It's 2026. I don't even know how many years that is. I'm not good at math. It's been since 1928 since my family was burned off their farm because they didn't pay their taxes.
100 years.
Okay. 100 years ago, I'm not walking into a courthouse to say, hey, I want the land back. Let somebody else in the family do it. I don't have time. When I'm like, all right, the United States came up with a way to control the land to stop the fighting. And what was that? One of the ways you're going to buy the fucking land. And at this point, I'm okay with doing that. Buying land and living on it. I'm serious. I'm not gonna go and try and be this damn person who was not. I didn't exist 100 years ago and go back and fight for land. I, let somebody else. I have thousands of members that's alive in my family. If they want to do that, go ahead. So be it. I'm not. I what I'm don't mind doing is building a municipality, and it becomes part of the United States. A municipality. I don't have a problem doing that.
I'll
That
say this.
sounds like something fun, but like what the Somalians did, they literally took over to Minnesota. But that just goes to show you that we have the opportunity to do the same thing. But do I want to live with a bunch of crazy people like that be on YouTube panels? I don't want to be in that community. I trained myself in my life to be in a peaceful environment. And that's the way I've lived for the last 35 years. I don't like, I grew up in the hood as a young girl. And now I've changed my life to live in the damn woods where I see deers and I'm comfortable.
Hey,
So
the way I'm
everybody
looking at
have
it,
their own choices.
the way I'm looking at it like this. Look, it's this list, and you can look at this list, and everybody that got reparations, right? And they probably didn't give them people land, but you know what? They got reparations back, especially the J people. They started getting reparations since 1945 on up into well into the late 2000s. They probably still getting the reparations from something that we didn't do, and we're paying them for that, right? But we can't speak on that type of stuff, right? But what I'm saying is we deserve reparations. We're at the bottom of that list with zero. We ain't got nothing back. So okay, they did away with the land. We didn't pay the taxes, but we are owed reparations in a lot of forms, and it's definitely lawsuits. Even because they even took us out of our original status and disconnected us and all that other stuff, like you was reading earlier. So they owe us reparations regardless.
Bro, you're never
I have
getting
whatever form.
you're
I
never
ain't
getting
saying I'm
your
saying that
reparations.
we are owed.
Reparations is to boycott the holidays. Don't celebrate none of their holidays. That's your
Right.
reparations. Yeah.
But look at the paperwork though. Everybody got reparations, and it wasn't about just no holidays or not celebrate holidays.
That
That's what I'm
I
saying.
get that. But you are a melanated man. You are
And
different from all these other individuals on these earth. You are
that's what
not
makes it work.
like, so you're never gonna get it.
I'll never say never. That's the one thing I won't do. But there are ways and there are things that can be done.
The
There are
reparations
things that can be
for
done.
us to unite as melanated people and boycott holidays. Don't celebrate none of their holidays. You explain it to your kids, your offsprings. You explain it to your offsprings. You get that understanding with them, and
Yeah,
you boycott all of them.
it's
That's it.
deeper than that. What you're saying. That's a
Guarantee.
part of.
I guarantee you that'll keep money in your pocket. Reparations.
I ain't saying it like that. I'm saying that's a part of it. You know, you're taking back you're taking your mind back out of the thing. That's what you're saying. Take your mind out of the equation of what they created. I get that part, but I'll fall back right here. I'll let y'all talk.
Well, we going on a three. I did not expect to be on this long. We going on 4 hours, and I really had a good time. At the end of the
Well,
day, Martin Luther King is turning over in his grave saying, "Don't celebrate my damn birthday, no man, no more, because y'all suck." Because we are not together like we were since Martin Luther King's assassination, and I personally don't think we're ever gonna come together as a people and do something civil. If you feel like we can get reparations, I say go for it. Good luck. I support you. Have a good, time trying to get reparations. I'm not going to waste my time on that.
mhm,
I'm going to keep moving forward in life. And I just don't agree with everything that was said
right.
when it comes to our people and the reasons why they can't come together and why they always blame the white guy. I mean, I look at things from a different perspective. I look at things what would happen if a million people from our race all gave $5. Nobody thinks like that anymore. The only ones who think like that are pastors. That's why they get tithes every week. We don't think on those terms. We have more power to do things for our communities than we can imagine. If we had 1 million people that look like us that just gave $2, that's $2 million. We don't look at things like that.
That's what
We look at
Farrakhan
each
did.
other and roll our eyes and look down. I ain't giving them $2. We don't like each other like that.
Listen, I went to the Million Man March in
And
1995.
I ain't
Let
even
me
gonna
let me
talk
say
about
that part.
I
I was gonna say that
we
one part. What
already
you
know
saying?
about
No, just that
nobody thinks
retaining
like
what
that,
you
but
were
he did
saying.
he did what he wanted to do with the money. I don't
I
see with when we if we were to come together and you don't even have to be working, you probably somebody who you don't tell me, even if you're a poorest person, they have 4 quarters from cashing in bottles. They could give $1. So all of us
Mhm.
are eligible and qualified for giving $1. If we all, if a million of us gave $10, we could have nice units put up for our people. It's us. We always want to force the white man to give us when we have the money in our pockets.
Oh,
And
listen,
we just refuse to do it. I'm gonna speak in Indian language. All niggas could give $5 each, and we could build up beautiful units. A million niggas gave $5 each. We could build up the most beautiful units in our communities, but we don't think on those terms. And I can't get our people to think that way. And I'm gonna end the show with, I'm sorry, but I just don't think our people are ever going to come together in that type of manner. And all I can say is this: Gen Z is out. We have some very sharp Gen Z youngsters. The school systems have improved. All the public schools, basically here in my state, I don't know what state everybody's in. They really turned them into like academies. These kids are learning trades today and they're coming out business minded. So, what I can strongly advise is since we're in Gen Z, let's support Gen Z and give them the motivation and inspiration to continue moving forward with business minds, opening businesses so that they could be great examples for the future generations to come. Because I'm personally not going to try to fix an old dog because I don't believe you can fix an old dog new tricks because an old dog still has the same excuses from back in the 70s that I'm tired of fucking hearing. If I made it, I look at it this way. If I made it out the hood, anybody can. And at that note, I'm gonna give my last words. I love y'all. Thank you everybody for watching today's segment. I'm tired. I'm gonna go
okay.
back and watch my Chinese movies and
Oh yeah.
enjoy my Chinese movies. Yeah, I love my Chinese love movies on Netflix. And I'm gonna call it a day. Superman, you got any closing statements?
The doors of the church is always open. Come to the altar.
All right.
Can I say one thing?
Lamont, you got any closing statements?
All right. The last thing I was gonna say, uh, that Million Man March when I was there, I seen the whole crowd giving them that money and passing that money. That he said, take $1 out, right? It would take a strong person with a strong message to motivate people. And that right there is being infiltrated on the worst level right now. So I don't know when it'll ever get done again, but Not no time soon. I don't see it. But that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you
Okay.
for
I
having.
have one last
Our-
question for these brothers. Have y'all accepted Jesus Christ in your heart as your Lord and
I'm not
Savior?
talking to you, Superman. Remember that?
Thank you for having me, Sister Bethy. Peace and abundance to you.
Peace and abundance to
Y'all
you
have a
too.
good
Thank
one.
you for
Peace.
joining us. Okay. Hey, you guys. Y'all know Superman ain't got no sense. But I love y'all, and I am so out of here. Take it easy, y'all.